Are we live? I'm just kidding. I know we're live. I am Jeremy, and this is Jets Chaos. And this is the Wacky Wednesday show. That's right. It's the Wacky Wednesday show. We got a great night. We are going to talk. I mean, how can you not talk about Mike White and Zach Wilson? How can you not talk about it? We're all wondering. But yet, there was more news today. More news came out today. You know what the big news of the day was? Snacks got a hat on. You know what? When someone wears a hat all the time, you don't care. But when a guy that you've seen a lot suddenly wears a hat, it's funny. We'll be back right after this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take a Kwanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today. You can't get rid of him.
Right, it's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Hey, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
All right, let's say hello to some people in the chat ready to join us on this fine Scottish day. We got Grandizer already promoting the channel. He was there like half an hour ago, guys. It was unbelievable. Half an hour ago. You think we get a Hanukkah in there, given that I'm a Jew, but that's okay. Happy holidays to all, and to all a great year. Jacob, the hotline is not open, but I need to open it one of these days again. And what is up? Harlan Abraham is here. What's up, my brother? Jets mess, what's going here? You know who hasn't been? Where's our crew boy? Where's Eminon? I don't know. He's like missing for a long time. But Jets mess is here. What's going on? I shouldn't dwell on the people who are not. Twisted, what's going on? Good to see you here. Twisted. Jacob Finnegan just spent a good amount of time with us. I had to bear an hour of having more Iowans in the room than New Yorkers. It was amazing. But I also got chastised by a professor. So that was interesting too. Who else is here? Twisted is a snacker. And Chiefs Chaos stole my name. He stole my name. He's starting a channel and realized that I have the best name. So he loves it so much. He asked me if it was okay. I said, hell yeah. There'll be a Chiefs Chaos. There'll be a 49ers Chaos. There's a Jets Chaos. There will be chaos. That's just me going off on my little thing. Jets Unleashed, what's going on? Good to see you here. And, okay. So without further ado, we got a lot to do. We got a lot going on. So what was I saying? So we're going to be talking about the quarterback situation because it's not something we cannot talk about. I mean, there's no way I would escape a show with a chat that's not going to be very heavily focused on the quarterback situation. Let's get real. That's very obvious. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but then we're going to take a bigger look, a more detailed look at Mike White, right? We're going to see what he does well, what he does okay, what he doesn't do, whatever. We're going to take a better look at Mike White. And it's not because we're saying that you have to be a Mike White guy, because guess what? There's no such thing as a Mike White guy, and there's no such thing as a Zach Wilson guy if you're a Jet fan. You're a Jet guy. That's how you have to do it. Oh, I should have made that the channel, the Jets guy. That would have been a great channel. Hell with Green Bean. Let me tell you something about Green Bean, okay? This liar, this betrayer. I was watching the famous show the other day on yesterday. And the show, I don't know if you guys know this, but Ryan from the panel gives out a T-shirt. And what happens is it randomly selects the bots people who are eligible to win the t-shirts. Now I was selected, but you know what happened, right? You know what happened? The person in charge of the whole thing of the drawing happens to be named Green Bean. And somehow I wasn't in the running at the end of the show for a shirt. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that. Happenstance? Purposeful? Maybe I put that little icon bad take onto the screen a little too many times when he was talking. I don't know. But what can I tell you? I didn't get an opportunity to win a shirt. Very hurt. My feelings are hurt. And I guess I'll have to just buy my, as he would probably say right now, he's probably muttering it to himself, buy your own effing shirt. Anyway, I'm forgetting something. Oh, yeah. Yeah, what I'm forgetting. There's a guy sitting backstage. He's part of the show, but he's not in the show right now. So we got to get him in. So let's get him in here. I bring to you a man who's very upset because one of his favorite players in baseball betrayed him and went to Texas. But our rich billionaire owner said, have no fear, for there is another named Justin Verlander. Why am I talking about baseball? Because I'm introducing this guy. He talks about baseball. He talks about hockey. He's the hot dog eating, wing eating, pizza eating, North Carolina visiting, president of the Virginia Fan Club, the greatest co-host of the world!
From International Falls to Niagara Falls, from walleye to wings, from Lake Minnetonka to Lake Erie, from numbskulls who chant skull to numbskulls who just jump through tables. Jets fans, if you're feeling down still about this loss to Minnesota, and I know there are those, even those Jets fans who I would consider positive, who are still going on about this very disappointing, draining loss. You know what? There is another Sunday coming up. There is another game. There is another opportunity. The New York Jets are still in the driver's seat to see this regular season through to its goal of that first grand playoff berth in 12 years. Get your chins up, get your green on, and let's freaking get ready for Sunday. Drew Carey, how are you doing today? Good to see you. I love John. Whose line is it anyway?
And just before we're going to go right into something else.
No.
Please welcome surprise guest. He is the sell it all to see it all, ride them all, roller coasting, RV riding, chicken wing eating, green bean talking, the greatest, the king, the godfather of all the Jet content, the greatest of all. Green bean.
You're fucking nuts. You really are. I don't want to. I don't want to
have a roller coaster guy on it. Yeah, we already have a roller coaster guy on. I thought it was going to be Kyle Brandt. What happened?
Yeah, yeah. Ooh. A bastard Y2K. What's he thinking?
I know you came in to straighten me out.
Yeah, wasn't that like a year and a half ago? Why are you still complaining about that one?
That was right? Tuesday. That was yesterday.
What? I didn't take your name off the running.
I swear Nightbot chose me yesterday.
Then I added you. If Nightbot chose you, I added you, bro.
And you never read my. I guess you didn't read that. Like when I was eliminated, you didn't say my name, so you led me to believe I was still in it to the very end.
You shouldn't win a shirt. You know, I mean, none of us should.
I know. I kind of know that. I know that.
Jeremy shouldn't win. You guys in the chat, you think Jeremy should win shirts on Talking Jets panel? I don't think so.
I think he's got to be limited to like one every 2 years. You know, once he wins one, he's got to be ineligible for a little while.
Right. Y2K, there was like a year and a half ago. I didn't know. Like, I didn't even know I did it. And he was like, hey, I got to tell you something. Like, I didn't like how you took me off the fucking thing. I'm like, really? You wanted the shirt? I mean, I win every week. I'm in there. The Nightbot picks me every week. I'm like,
Ryan actually sent me the Wall Street Wilson shirt. He did send it to me.
Yeah, because
I have
Ryan's the best.
I have one also, and now we're trying to return it.
That's what happens. You can't make shirts for these guys, man. I'll tell you, and I just said this in my video. Maybe you guys will agree or whatever. I think I'm almost ready. If Quinnen Williams signs his contract, like if he gets a nice beefy extension, 4 or 5 years, I'll buy a Quinnen Williams shirt. I think I might be ready to buy a shirt, and it's got to be second contract, and it can't be a Jordan Jenkins 1 year holdover second contract shit. Like it's got to be somebody who's been a Jet for 4 or 5 years and is going to be a Jet for another 4 or 5 years. Then 8 years is pretty good. You know what I mean? And Quinnen is so good, dude. He's officially my favorite Jet. Like this week did it, man. When he fucking broke his shoulder and came back 3 plays later,
Freaking man.
like, I thought his season was over. He's like, I'm good. Pop
He's not
it
even on
back
the
in.
injury report. How is this possible?
Because he's a man, dude.
He's superhuman.
He harkens back to the Kyle Cliftons, the Mo Lewis. Like you would see those guys like, or Joe Klecko, they would limp off and there'd be blood pouring all over their jersey and they would be back the next series. And it's like, what happened what'd they do? Like, man, they stick him with a needle and fuck, so they took him in the tent. He said, pop it back in a la Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. Remember?
Oh yeah, I do. Against the car, against the South Africans. That was the second movie.
And he goes,
Do you really want to jump? You want
Get a
to?
free shot of that.
Yeah. So it's just, that's the way. But I'm like, obviously he's great. I mean, he's improved every single year. He's a fantastic team player with the balls to get in his coach's face. Not that you don't want to see that. I don't love that kind of stuff, but you got to believe like he's not a punk. So if he does it, there's a reason, you know what I mean? There's something there. And look, they got past it and everything improved. And I think he's amazing. Dude, and he's still 24 years old. It's crazy.
And you called it so well on him because last year you were even saying when people were still saying, well, he's not playing up to third round, third overall pick. And you called it during a game last year when it was like the other team was on like the 18-yard line in the red zone, third down, and he made this huge sack. He went right through. And you said the exact truth. You said he makes the plays when it matters most. He doesn't like he's not one of those guys who they're up by 30 points and that's when they're getting all their sacks.
Yep.
Jamal
like
Adams.
the guy, like running backs do that. Like it's the end of the game. They're up by, 17 points and they're just running the ball. You know what I mean? They get another 60 yards and it's like, oh, he had 120 yards. Look how good he is. And it's like, or like Jamal Adams would do that stuff. He would pick on terrible teams. Like Jamal Adams, that year that he was an all-pro for us, I think it was the last year, he had 6.5 sacks, right? So he was, I think 1 sack away from the record for safeties at that point. Dude, he got 5 of them in 2 games against Dwayne Haskins and the Redskins, and they were terrible, and the Giants. Daniel Jones, they were 2 rookies. He got 5 of those sacks in 2 games. What do you do the rest of the year? 1.5. Like, it's like, that's Jamal Adams. Quinnen, on the other hand, like Jeremy just said, like he knows how to come up when you need someone, and he did it in this game again.
Yeah. It's a big. He's a big time player.
Yeah, I'll buy a Quinnen jersey. I mean, like I said, dude, if Quinnen says, "Hey, look, I want 37 million," you go, "All right, well, here's 37 million."
Yeah, that Quinnen jersey better be Q. Williams. They can't say just Williams. If it doesn't have the Q on it, it doesn't make as strong of a statement in my mind.
I second that. Like my Mo Lewis jersey, Y2K, I made it myself. Like I saw there was a Mo Lewis jersey, but it said Lewis. I'm like, I made my own Mo Lewis. I got it.
You gotta have the Mo.
Yeah, or else it's just some guy Lewis.
Bodales.
Right, Lewis Williams. You gotta Q Williams. Well, and then on our team, you got to be Quin. Or Quinn, Quincy. Wait, Quinn. Jesus, that's how far you got to go for it not to be confused with Quincy. Other than
And-
the number, of course.
Yeah, and Brees and Bryce, although that may not be the case for too much longer, but it's like BREHAL or BRY.
Yeah.
I kind of like the way Bry Hall would look on it. I don't know if
Bry
Bryce
Hall.
is long for this team, but Bry Hall, that would
Hmm.
actually look pretty good on a jersey.
I just hope that kid can come back, man.
I hope so
I
too.
know.
But
Oh, please. Why aren't we allowed to have nice things? So,
Seemingly, we can't even have Max Mitchell. I'm about to film my video on Max Mitchell right now, so I just jumped on because you sent me and you were talking all this shit about T-shirts. So I just said, let me just jump on real
I
fast.
said I'll lure him on. Daniel Faust with the super chat to get things going. We are training an OC as well. Here's my theory on that. My theory on that is, remember, just like with other positions, quarterback, we are ahead of schedule. So I don't know if we knew we'd be dealing with it in this way, but I agree. I think because we're in the playoff hunt, because we turned it around so quickly, it's noticeable, and we've been exposed to a couple of things that they thought they could do quietly. I think what they thought the first 2 years is we rebuild the team. This guy's going to develop into a great offensive coordinator. And what's happening is now he's been put in the spotlight, and he's not completely ready yet.
Yeah,
And it's
Right.
showing.
I agree. How about all the talk about LaFleur being a head coach? It's like, can we
Not yet.
right?
just hold
And
your
it may-
horses.
right.
It may happen. It absolutely could happen one day, but it doesn't need to happen immediately.
Yeah, he's not even really ready to be an offensive coordinator. You know what I mean? He's there, but like he's got it right. I think that's the thing that we get away from, like especially when it becomes exciting and we're closer than we've ever been. I mean, we have a better team than we've had in over a decade, so it's hard not to get sucked into it. But the truth is, and I think you just said this maybe before today, Jeremy, but LaFleur's part of that young group. Like, we're talking about Sauce and Brees and ABT and Zach, all these young guys. Well, Mike LaFleur's one of them. You know what I mean? He's a guy doing this for the first time, and he's clearly shown an aptitude for it. It's just whether situationally, we don't necessarily love everything that he's doing.
Right.
No, I will say this. He's been an offensive coordinator going back to 2011. Or working on the offensive side of the football. It's not as if he hasn't been a play caller before. And the other thing, have you heard anybody talking about the red zone offense before this past game against Minnesota? No one had talked about this being a problem because the Jets were right in the middle of the pack when it came to red zone offense touchdown percentage. They were right smack in the middle of the league. They were doing better than the Chargers, the Bills, the Packers. They had a better red zone touchdown percentage than all those teams. This was a bad week, but you know what? On the other hand, you got to give some credit, as much as we don't want to the Minnesota defense because they played better than how they've been playing. You could get on some of the play call formations. You absolutely can. I hate the fade in the corner unless it's like Plexico Burris in the corner of the end zone. I don't like that play. And the other thing I didn't like is empty sets on 4th down and goal, because to me, it just takes options away. It gives the defense one less thing to think about.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Now it's funny because I actually I reached out to a few people and one of the guys, I'll bring up one because what he said is what I'm talking about. But I reached out to a few guys that have access, right? And Connor Hughes got back to me and he said, if they run an empty set, what he would like to see, especially on like the 1 yard line, is a quarterback draw. Like you spread everybody out and then, you just run up. And I said, truth is, I think that's perfect. Like, why don't we even do that? Or a 6'4" guy like Mike White, just on a quarterback draw, he takes the 3 steps and just, McGovern and Herbig just spread it out. You got the receivers and tight ends, everybody taking them all over the place and just run it in the end zone. And we don't even do that. So it's like, other than that, I'm with you, Watuka. I hate empty sets. On 3rd, 4th, and short. I hate it. It's just, it removes something for the defense to pay attention to. And I don't understand the wisdom behind it. I really don't.
That being said, the point was that, and I think Twisted kind of points it out here, is every time that he was making those mistakes that frustrated us in the red zone, we got to the red zone. So we can't discredit that. He makes really good decisions and he reads defenses and he's up there. He's a smart guy. Because whenever we look at the film with Dom C, right? I always have more respect for Mike LaFleur because there's a lot of plays where he's outsmarting the
Totally.
defensive coordinator.
Those
Right.
receivers are running wide open. So
And
many
it's
times.
usually right. It's usually a quarterback or a lineman, breaks. It's usually a breakdown somewhere. But LaFleur's design, it's like 9 out of 10 times it's working perfectly.
Yeah.
You got to
So-
consider that.
Yeah, I just think he needs to. And we were talking about it when we were watching the game. We both said it. Like, and this is on Saleh too. Because he gets down towards there, and I don't know if he's if it's a show off to my big brothers, because Saleh's like a big brother. Look how smart I am. But you go downfield 60 yards, and then you get to the 18-yard line, and it's like, now it's time for me to shine.
Yeah, I think it's just overcomplicating.
Fancy play. Yeah.
I think he's just over. I don't know if it's necessary. I'm sure that the big brotheritis it's in there, but I don't know. I think it's like Brian Schottenheimer did the same thing. We'd have these beautiful drives and we'd get down to the 10-yard line, and he started doing all these weird, crazy, complicated. It's like, what are you doing? Like, why? They outsmart themselves.
And we got more talent on offense, now than those teams did, back in the Rex and Shoddy days. There's all kinds of things. Why don't we ever throw to a tight end in the red zone? Are we allergic to doing that?
I know, right?
I mean, why doesn't Uzama get an opportunity? He made an amazing catch, just amazing.
So pretty.
It was his only target of the day. I wish we would go to a player like that a little bit more in some of those spots, rather than doing some of the things that we're doing. And I like Braxton. I'm not going to jump on him because that's the easy thing to do, because the game shouldn't have come down to that. But I would trust the pass to an Uzama more than I would be, handing the ball to a wide receiver and trying to, how good is this offensive line at setting up screens? They're really not. That is not the strength of this offensive line. We don't run screens well and those types of plays when they're out in space now that AVT's not around and some of these other guys aren't around.
Yeah.
So, to me, honestly, maybe even simplified a little bit more in the red zone. It's like getting a little bit, I hate to use the word, but too cute. I think you could say they're getting too cute in the red zone.
Yeah, like how about a little RPO with the tight end just running along the, just parallel with the quarterback. You have the choice to throw it, run it. We don't even whatever it is. And I'm with you. I think Conklin kind of betrayed us in this game. He had to be losing confidence in that guy. I think he had 3 drops himself. So it was, but I'm with you, man.
He matched his total drops for the entire year he played in Minnesota last year.
Gross. And what's Gina? Gina, why are you bringing up shit like that? Why you got, I don't know if you guys know. It wasn't that I was hot. I just stopped filtering last night. I fucking had it. Everybody's being ridiculous. And, I think, honest to God, I felt very strongly people were being dumb. So I had to make sure they knew it. That's it.
Was that on your stream or the panel?
No, it was on my stream. I did like a 2.5. I should have ended it at 30 minutes, and I went on for 2 hours.
I was done with a panel after an hour. I had, for my own sanity, I had to get out.
Well, it got worse. It got worse on my stream. It was like, I mean, it was ridiculous. Like when people and you try to be constructive, and then people say, "Why do you hate Zach?" Like that kind of stupid shit. Like and then just like the stupid stuff, like we talk about Mike White, failing in the red zone, but it's like, dude, realistically, how many times did we get in the red zone with Zach? I mean, that's what we have to look at. And it's like, I don't know. Anyway, and if you want to see me kind of stop being middle of the road, you can look at the After Hours Jets Fest from last night.
We want
turn it into a promo. Let's turn it into a promo.
I'm gonna make some clips about it. It's fun. What's funny? I woke up this morning and I was like, I gotta delete that stream. You know what I mean? That was my first thought. I can't have that out there. It's just stupid. And then I watched it and I was laughing. I'm like, oh, this is fucking funny. Good, Green Bean. You tell them.
Do you know what?
All I know is with my videos, the angrier I get, the more views I get. I don't know why that is. I guess I do a good job at getting pissed off. I don't know.
Drama. That's why Samini's such an asshole. He knows.
But I'll tell you, I don't remember during the game when we're watching the game, the entire second half with all those opportunities. I don't remember once getting mad at Mike White. I remember being frustrated with him in the first half. And Domsey actually went over one of the plays that we were frustrated. And on that play, we were right to be frustrated. The one to
Right.
Ty Johnson. We were right on that one. But it turned out some of the others we weren't right. And then, but in the second half, I don't remember having a single negative thought about Mike White.
Right.
So even though they're saying he was this for this in the red zone, I
6 or
don't feel it
17.
was. I don't feel like it was his fault. I was
No.
never mad at Mike White for
Nope.
anything.
Yeah, I felt the same way, man. I mean, look, was he perfect? No, but I thought, like, again, like, this is all I'll say about the whole thing. For everybody who's like stuck on Zach Wood this and Zach Wood that and all that kind of stuff. If Zach Wilson had the exact same last 2 games as Mike White, they would be elated. And they'd be singing his praises about, hey, so, hey, it's more than enough to work with. All right. So he didn't get in the end zone, but look at what he did. 300-yard games, 370, that's what would be happening. The fact that they're minimizing it when it's Mike White, it shows their colors. Psychotic.
John Nolte.
Fuck you, Nolte.
Nolte. I always visualize Nolte different for all the time I knew him for the first year, a little over a year. I always thought of like this older guy, salty Nolte. But when you see him, you got to think older guy, but former construction worker.
Did we see him?
So change your image. Yeah, he sent me a picture because he
okay.
He sent me a picture.
I don't know what Salty looks
He's
like.
older, but he's a big guy, like a construction worker guy. So you have to change what you're thinking.
I was thinking like Nick Shine's cousin, I was thinking Nick Shine's cousin.
I had him as a doctor, like.
No.
Wow.
So, like that kind of build, I don't know. I don't know even what that means, but
I don't either.
He's a big guy. Just try to imagine, I don't know, like former football players hanging around a table drinking coffee. He's one of them.
Right.
Like a former linebacker. But anyway, yeah.
Right. Listen, I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna leave you guys to your show. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but nice to see you guys and stop complaining about free shirts, you Jewish fucking. I'm telling you.
Watch out, you're gonna offend Gitmo Bob.
Well, hey, I gotta offend my wife and kids first. Dude, we're Jews over here. So just
Jeremy, don't worry. I don't think Gitmo Bob's ever gonna hear this.
I know. I already chased him. He already ran away a long time ago.
He's here.
Gone Mo Bob, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right,
yeah.
Green Bean.
All right, guys. Listen, have a good show, and I'll see you. Goodbye, everybody in the chat.
See you tomorrow.
See you guys. Tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Right on.
Yep. All right. That was Green Bean Jets fan. You all know him. There's not a person here who doesn't know Green Bean. So Tyson Manning comes in and says, I made excuses for Zach since he started, but I just can't handle his spoiled brat attitude. Look, I don't know what's going on for sure. Part of me thinks there might be some spoiled brat in there, but I don't know that there is. I know that, and the only thing he did wrong that I saw that's proven, the only proven thing, everything else has been speculation. The only thing that I think that he did wrong, proven, was after the game with in the presser, right? Obviously.
Correct.
But I do want to say, and I'm not being a Zach homer because everybody knows I'm a Jet guy. I'm supporting Mike White right now, and I will support Zach Wilson if he comes back onto the field for sure. Everybody knows that. But look, Zach Wilson had a meltdown during that game. Something happened to him. He didn't just get benched for no reason. It wasn't just because he didn't play well and now he's inactive and they're doing the whole fundamentals. Something happened. Some people call it the yips. I call it a breakdown. I call it a slow emotional breakdown. He could not compose himself. He had some kind of breakdown on that field. Now, the one thing, and I said this in a video already, when I was just babbling on and on, when he came into that presser after the game, he was not in the right frame of mind. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I'm saying reality. He wasn't relaxed and calm and thinking about what he was. It didn't even look like he understood what they were asking him. He looked like he was in shell shock. You know what I'm saying, Adam? He's a young kid who just lost the game for his team and couldn't throw a 5-yard pass. What was going on inside his head?
I think in the moment he was trying to save face a little bit. He didn't want to. I think if anything, maybe he wanted to maybe instill himself with some confidence and not beat himself up. Because once if you start getting down on yourself, then it's game over. So I think he was doing that to try to give him some sort of positive self-talk. But you're right. That is the only incident where he handled himself poorly that we have seen publicly. Now, we don't know what's happened in practice. We don't know what's going on during flight school, as they term it, where he stays late and works on his mechanics and all this other stuff. But I do think that there are times as fans, we have this extreme nature about us where we take like one kernel of truth, just a little kernel of truth, and then we run with that and we write an entire story based off like that one sentence. But the truth is, we don't know, and sometimes it's actually okay to not know. But the most important thing to take here is Zach Wilson is not done. Not done in this league, and I don't believe he's done as a New York Jet. I believe he is going to have every opportunity unless Mike White does so well that he not only takes this team to the playoffs, but takes them on a legitimate run. And by that, I mean like to the AFC Championship game, where you pretty much are, where Joe Douglas would, I don't want to say have no alternative, but it's very clear. It would almost be like Ryan Fitzpatrick in 2015, but even more so, where he's like, sign this man to a contract. Sign him to a contract. And then if that's the case, who knows what the future of Zach is. But I don't think he's the type who's going to demand a trade out if Mike White does really well. If New York is not the right place for Zach Wilson, then we can live with that. I'm fine with that as long as Mike White is the future quarterback, or they do get somebody else in the offseason. Because if Zach goes, they better have a quarterback in place that we can trust. I don't want to go on this freaking merry-go-round again, just kick Zach off the ride, but yet we still don't know what we're doing. That is the scenario I cannot accept as a Jet fan.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, we're just going to root for the guy who's in there. Hope he does well. If he doesn't do well, and they bring it, and if he doesn't do well and they put Zach back in, like in a couple of weeks, that means they see something in practice. We just have to trust them. We don't see what's going on, but the main point, that I think we should make is you can't take one response in a press conference after a loss and judge the whole person by that, because everybody here has had moments in their life that you wouldn't want to be the moment. You wouldn't want to be the moment people judged you as a person on, right? So you're taking him in a horrendously bad point in his life. You don't think he wanted to win that game against New England? You don't think he was shaken up and mad and upset and had all kinds of emotions going on? I mean, you just have to understand. Think of that your worst moment and imagine the world sees it. That's what these guys have to deal with. So it's not so much, he's a spoiled brat. He didn't handle that moment well. And hopefully he'll look back at it as a learning opportunity, right? Something he's got to learn and grow from. But personally, if I'm in that locker room as a coach, if I'm one of the coaches on that staff, I'll say take the fine. There's no way I let him out in that press conference. Unless I know he's good. I check him out. I go, are you good? And if I looked at those eyes, if you looked at him at the press conference, if you looked at his state of mind, there's no way I let him out. I don't let him do it. I say, you're not talking to the press. And I'll take the heat for it as the coach. I'll say, I'm not letting my guy talk to you right now. I think that these adults in the room have to realize they're coaching kids because they're young. He's 23, and in that moment, he needed to be protected. Honestly, that's how I feel about that. So, and I know people say, no, he's responsible. Yeah, whatever, guys. It's just that your job, when you do your job, a million people aren't watching you do your job. He's doing his job in front of hundreds of thousands of people who all are blaming you and angry at you when you mess up and happy with you when you don't mess up. Nobody in the world other than another player and specifically quarterback could ever understand what that's like. But at 23 years old, for him to then respond by going in and saying something foolish or the wrong thing to the media right after that happened to him, I'm going to give him a pass on it. with all that being said, we got some business to take care of, and maybe he'll want to chime in on this. Ladies and gentlemen, I could not do a show that promises to take a deeper look at Mike White without this guy, because the truth is, otherwise I'm just making it up and reaching for stars. But this guy actually shows the film. This guy's actually going to give us a look to really see who is Mike White at the moment. Nothing shows who he's going to be or not going to be. It only shows who he is right now. Please welcome the Italian. Don't call him Dominic the Donkey, because he's the greatest film analyst in the world. Dominic Donkey.
Buonadala.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going, chat? How's everyone doing tonight?
Oh man, just peachy, Dom. Just peachy. It's a new week. December is here. The Jets are relevant, and we got 5 very interesting weeks to look forward to. So, how do you feel now? Let me ask you this question. So, what were your thoughts kind of at the beginning of the season? Like, what were your hopes at the beginning of the season, and how are they living up to it compared to what you were thinking at the beginning?
So, if we're being honest,
That helps.
I would have been happy with where we're at right now. 7 wins, and I would have said it was a successful year. Now obviously the narrative has changed as we got better. And I think we're exactly where we're supposed to be. I know that's kind of a very cliche or weak way of saying it, but we're a team that is growing. We've gotten better faster than anyone thought we would. We are young, still with lots of room to improve. And I think that Minnesota game is the perfect example of what I'm saying. We played well for the most part, not in the red zone. But for the most part, if you look statistically, more yards on offense. We shut down the people we had to shut down on defense. We played well on special teams. We held the time of possession. We didn't win the turnover battle. They did. So everything's not perfect. But that was just a young, gritty team full of piss and vinegar and moxie, who fought back from a big deficit on the road against a team with 9 wins and came up short. It's a young. The New York Jets are young, and I'm not talking about the age of the roster, because that's not necessarily all that young, but the key players in key positions, including coach, offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, GM, stat. The 53-man roster. We're learning how to be a good football team. I think that's exactly where we're at. I'm very happy with it too. Very happy with where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, as much as it hurt, that was why. And I put a video of that and said "sweet and sour day," because of course, Jets went right at me and said that's because you think of food, no matter what it is. But which is true. But for real, I mean, it was like that Shakespearean thing, So bitter and sweet a day, sweet and bitter a sorrow, sweet and sorrow a day.
Yeah,
because we lost and it hurt, and we could have won, and it was a heartbreaking loss. But at the same time, there was also this knowledge of we are now a team that could go in and play a 9-2 team in their stadium, lose a heartbreaking game, and be angry and mad and complain about the things that went wrong, because we have legitimately come that far as a fan base because of our team. We went from a joke 4-13, no expectation to beat anybody, to angry that we couldn't beat a 9-2 team in their stadium.
Yeah. Listen, disappointed for sure. You know what I mean? It was definitely disappointed because I think we had, plenty of opportunity to really hammer home the win. And not only hammer home the win, but there was plays, and we're going to go over a bunch of them. They talk about like game of inches. Literally, we were inches away from that score being much more heavily sided in our favor. You know what I mean? Just it's a tough. It was tough in the moment, and it's still not like great. You know, of course, I want to win every game, but as all the dust settles and whatnot, it's hard not to, again, not taking a moral victory, but it's hard not to see, like, you know what, we can hang with the second best team in the NFC. We can hang with the Bills. There's like, I'm confident going into every game that, you know, we have a fighter's chance. You know, it's not I don't have that doom and gloom feeling that you go into a game and be like, oh God, I hope this isn't like Indianapolis last year. I hope it's not the second half of Philly last year. You know what I mean? Where things where we just fall off the rails so freaking fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very content with the roster that Joe Douglas is building. You know, am I happy that we don't have Breece Hall? Of course not. AVT, of course not. You know, our you know, Mekhi Becton and every other tackle that we've lost, of course not. But that's football. You know what I mean? All that stuff, and we still kind of rise to the adversity. You know, the benching of our quarterback and you know, filling in with a backup. Of course not. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. And the good teams get over that stuff. You know, they find a way to get through the hump, and we're finding our way, you know.
And that's what I want to kind of point out. Usually a second year of a rebuild, right? Mm-hmm. Second year of the regime, we're bringing in players. You usually, maybe you can do pretty good because the players work out, right? But typically you don't also have the depth. Like, that's the weakness, right? Your second year of a rebuild, you get some young, good players. We see it all the time. They get some injuries and the team goes right to crap because there's no depth in the team. What's amazing about what Joe Douglas has done is what you're talking about is we lost so many players, and here we are still here, still fighting, still more players stepping up, like Bam Knight, for example. Just guys stepping up that are good. And it makes you realize, wow, that's what a real team is made of. Now, it might not be enough to make a deep playoff run with all these injuries, but it's certainly enough to make us think, man, next year when everybody's healthy, now we know that we could survive some injuries. Like, as we get better, not only could we get really good with these players, but we could also get to a point where we know that we're deep enough to say next man up.
I'll be straight with you. I'm desperate for this team to get into the playoffs, especially considering where this coaching staff is and where these players are, as young as they are. I really feel they'll need the experience. And you know what? Even if that means going into Arrowhead to play Kansas City in the first round, if it's a 2-7 game, I embrace that. I would love to see them take on Patrick Mahomes. Give me the best in the world. I want that. I want this pass rush to have a shot at Patrick Mahomes. You know, have him try to throw to those wide receivers who are covered by Sauce, MC2, and DJ Reed. I would absolutely love it.
You know, not to get ahead of myself, but you know, since you brought it up in that, you know, hypothetical proposed 7-2 matchup that we fall in right now, schematically, man. Schematically is, you know, we match up pretty well against Kansas City. You know, if the blueprint has been laid on how to beat Patrick Mahomes, it's give him the little stuff underneath. You know, play tight, play your zones very tight. You know, play crystal clean defense. Get at him. With as few guys as you possibly can while everyone else is dropped back. And that's just what we've done. And that's what we do. And that's what we, when our defense is going at, you know, full bore, full steam, that's what we do best, man. So I'm not scared of anybody. I'm really not. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I don't say that with like cocksureness. Like I'm not being cocky, like we're the best team in the league, but there's not a team out there that really scares me, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't think this year is in particular, we should be scared. I think we should be excited to play great teams and see how we can match up and play against them. I'm excited to play Buffalo again this week. I'm excited to play Miami in the last game of the year in a game that will probably most likely be incredibly meaningful, if not win and we're in type of significance. Like my brother Lee is very boldly, stating that he believes it'll be. Just to quickly answer Billy's question, he's been waiting for a while. So here's the thing with Max Mitchell. All we know is one thing. Anything else you hear is everything is speculation. All Saleh said, and nothing was added to this. Nobody said anything. There's no real data out there. All we know is we all know the same exact thing. Max Mitchell was put on the non-football injury list, and Robert Saleh very clearly said he is gone for the season. He will not play this season. There is a million things that this could be. So we could sit here and guess all day, but I promise you, don't listen to rumors. Don't believe anything anybody is saying, because there's no leaks right now. Nobody has any idea. They're all respecting his privacy. It could be a million things. It could be so many different things. We don't know, but I'm sure more and more information will come out eventually.
One of the things that I wonder about, so this is when you get an injury or an ailment that doesn't have anything to do with football, with practice or anything like that. So you wonder if it's physical or if it's mental, because I don't know if the NFL list would include mental situations. Now, it doesn't sound like he had to have any sort of rehab or anything like that, or a check-in, and I sincerely hope that wasn't the case. And I don't want to speculate on what it is. I'm just trying to get a better feel for what the NFI list would be. But we know he's out. If he's out for the season for sure, then we know that's at least 5 weeks. Normally, you could come back in 4 weeks from this. So right now, Max Mitchell, we have to act like right now he is not part of the team. And if we get him back for next year, then great. I sincerely hope we do. But right now, you cannot think about Max Mitchell. It's almost like Cameron Clark 2 years ago, and it's really, really sad that this seems to be happening. These types of situations happen to these promising offensive line prospects that the Jets get.
That's pretty. Is that true? The Lions are favorites.
Yeah, the Loins are favored against the Vikings. It is true.
Wow.
They just throw 40 burgers up on everyone.
They're amazing. And Jamal Williams is like, who knew he'd be like the best fantasy investment, like for like a mid to late round pick every week, a touchdown or 2 touchdowns.
Look, I think we're gonna compete with every team that's good because they have a great offense and a bad defense, but has a good record or is good. I believe those are the teams we match up well against, right, Dom? Because those are the teams that a great defense beats a great offense most of the time. And that frees up our offense to be really effective. So whether that gives us, whether I say that doesn't mean we're going to roll and win, it certainly makes me feel we're going to be competitive in any game like that, which is what you were talking about with Kansas City. I feel like don't let them get the big play, put them under lots of pressure. Only the inside stuff that you were saying, that's our specialty. And then Kansas City is a team we could probably not, I mean, they're not as weak as some of the like Chicago, they're not that kind of defense, but they're not a wall, right? They're not like a Denver defense or, they're not like impossible. Like we could definitely move the ball and do things against Kansas City.
Yeah, if we beat Buffalo up, if we ran the ball on Buffalo the way that we did, I mean, why can we not run the ball anytime we want to freaking run it?
Yeah, that's true.
Ideally, that's the case. Again, not to downplay Kansas City. I mean, they're a phenomenal team. But
yeah.
I don't think. I think I'll say this much. I think people fear our defense more than I fear anybody's offense. If that makes any sense. I don't think guys want to play. I don't think teams want to play the Jets right now. They're not somebody that you're looking forward to playing on the roster, which is a beautiful thing.
It's like right now, it's like I don't care what their record is. It was like when we played them, it's the same thing. Like it's never fun to play Denver because of their defense. Like it's never fun, right? I mean, like you never. So that's what people are saying about us. Who wants to play against the Jets right now, given our defense? Knowing that,
the Patriots would, but that's another story.
I'm sorry, what?
The Patriots would. That's another story.
That's a whole other story. But the point is like we're a team now that has not just like we're better and everything, but we have an element, we have a strength to us that definitely concerns knowledgeable football fans of the teams we play. Like if you know anything about football and you're really like paying attention to your opponent, there's no way that any knowledgeable people like in Buffalo right now or any team that we're playing is not talking about our defensive line all week long. Like, how are you not
Yeah.
talking about Quentin Williams?
Listen, I'm gonna give a shameless plug right now to a guy on YouTube. I love his channel. He's a Buffalo Bills YouTuber. I think the show is called Cover One or something like that. Cover One podcast, something like that. I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on it, but I watch it all the time. I'm notified when he goes on, so on and so forth. And he was on earlier today, and I just happened to be on my drive home, and I was listening to it, and it was, the guy's legit, and he talked in droves about how good how good the Jets are, and how dangerous of a team we are from top to bottom, especially with the defense. He again, it's a very, very well, like, an intelligent dude, well thought out. He knows his stuff, and he paid a pound of respect to the Jets, and you don't get that, especially from your interdivisional rivals all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually want to respond to Jennifer's comment. Jennifer, you make an interesting point, but I gotta tell you, Diggs had a better first half when Sauce was on him, but when DJ Reed was on him in the second half, Diggs didn't have a catch, I believe, the rest of the game. And we know that's not the way that the Jets tend to play their defense. It's left side, right side. We're tend to not follow it, but I gotta tell you, I think Reed is a better match for Diggs than Sauce is. I know that sounds crazy, but it might be true.
Well, he's just experienced. I mean, it's like that's what's so funny to me is, like, they have Sauce ranked in the top 5, and I love Sauce, so I'm not going to argue where you rank him. I think he's the greatest thing since chopped liver. But at the same time, I then you don't see Reed ranked in the top 20, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Because I'm not even sure. You can't make an argument that Reed is as good as Sauce
right now. I mean, listen, right now, you can call him 1A, 1B. In whichever way you say goes. The difference is, listen, here's the reality is that Sauce is just coming into his own. He's just starting this thing. And Reed, as good as he is, and this is not meant disrespectfully towards him, because he's amazing, but there's going to be a precipitous drop off in Reed's game at some point. Hopefully it's after this contract is done. Because he just doesn't. He's not as he's a wonderful football player. But the legs are going to go. He's going to get a little older. He doesn't have like those special athletic traits that Sauce has. You know what I mean? Sauce is one of those guys. He's going to get old, and he's still going to be able to shut people down just because he's still that much more athletically inclined and that much faster and all that stuff. Reed's a technician who is, when his skills start to erode, I think they're going to erode quick. Again, I don't think that's now. I don't think that's next year, but that's the difference where they are. They're at different stages of their game, man. And I'm happy to have them both. I'm happy to have all 3 of our starting cornerbacks on our team right now. I mean, they're as good as a trio as there is in the league. I'll put them up against anybody.
And you know what? I have trust. People might think I'm crazy. I actually trust Eccles as the guy that comes in if somebody goes down. I like Eccles.
Well, you have no choice. Who else are you going to trust?
Bryce
Hall.
Bryce Hall.
Bryce Hall.
Oh, he's not playing. You can't even.
No, that's what I mean. They don't even make him active, which they don't even activate him, which makes you see how much faith they have in Eccles, and also their backup plan. Which, if Eccles went down, also if 2 guys went down, I think that shows they have a lot of faith in their maneuverability. I'm guessing LaMarcus Joyner would come up and play the slot. In a pinch like
that, I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, they have to have some kind of plan, right? It's not Justin Hardy, is it?
I was going to say, I think they would trust Justin Hardy to play cornerback more than Bryce Hall, which they shouldn't. But yeah, I don't know what's good. The only way Hall's ever getting on the field again is if somebody goes down. So hopefully it doesn't happen. But to me, it's just another reminder of when we talk about ideas for the draft, It's not about taking your worst position in the first round. It's not always about that. Cornerback was not the Jets' worst position going into that draft, but they saw Sauce Gardner. They saw a chance to go from good to great as opposed to, say, terrible to eh. And sometimes that's how you take the draft as it comes to you, and that's what Joe Douglas did so well.
Yeah. Well, it was a great cornerback. It was a great cornerback draft, from top to bottom.
It was, yeah.
There's a bunch of guys that are out there that are kicking ass. We have a little home team flavor because of Sauce, and he's earned every bit of respect that he gets on his name, without a doubt. But yeah, the guys in the first round, they've been, a lot of them have been playing good. Trent McDuffie in Kansas City has played phenomenally. What about the kid in
Seattle?
Well, yeah, the kid in Seattle, the kid in New England, Jones, Marcus Jones.
I was going to say, which one of the 10 Joneses
Jack
that they
Jones
have?
from Arizona State, 3rd round pick, playing lights out. Wooten in Seattle playing lights out.
Yeah,
there've been a bunch of great. It was a good cornerback draft.
Jacob Finnegan, Woolen is terrible. Somebody wants attention.
Come on, that's not true. Woolen is good. Do you guys want to draft a quarterback in the late rounds in the draft? I don't know if it's about want. Why not see Joe Douglas do it? When I say why not, I say it not because of anything to do with Zach. Mike White's a free agent, so if he doesn't, if they don't make the decision he's the guy or strong or going to compete for real to be the guy, and like we're talking about, right? He's at least $10 million if he plays well. If he gets to the playoffs, I mean, if he gets to the playoffs.
It's so hard. It's so hard to say, Jeremy. I would listen. If he just say, again, hypothetical, just say we go 4-1 these last 5.
Yeah,
we're 11-win team. We're the 6th seed, and we win a playoff game.
Okay,
all right. And it's not wins that Mike White comes in there at throwing the ball at 45-50% completion percentage, more interceptions, touchdowns. I mean, where he has control of the offense. Maybe not Patrick Mahomes control, but I'm talking like Jimmy Garoppolo control.
Right.
Where he plays good enough to move the offense to make win. Then I could see maybe he gets a contract of $8 million or so. $10 million might be stretching it. I mean, he makes 2 now.
Right.
And truth be told, I don't know if we're going to bring another $10 million quarterback on our roster. As constituted right now, we can't.
Right, which is why I ask, do you think with Joe Flacco probably, seeing his last days, I doubt he comes back. Do you see us just picking up some guy off the heap, that's already around out there? Or could you imagine in a draft that is strong with quarterbacks that a couple of them might slip into the later rounds because there's only so many that are going to get drafted early because right. And sometimes once that happens and you fill the need of teams that want a quarterback, the others who could be very close in difference. Like if it was a different year where there were more teams in need or a different year, they could have went higher. What if there is a quarterback Joe Douglas likes? Do you think I'm not saying likes to come in as the starter, but to say, okay, you're the new Mike White. You're the new guy we developed to be a long-term backup quarterback, low end, maybe even be the guy that comes in and does it, ceiling.
Who's the guy that we drafted? Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on his name? He was a 4th round pick, McCagnon years.
Petty,
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, could I see us put in a 3rd day, day 3 pick on a quarterback for somebody like Petty, who is going to, he's developmental, never going to be a stud. Maybe his ceiling is backup quarterback. Yes, I do. I don't know if it'll be this year, because it really matters on what happens at the end of this year. If we see Zach come back, if we see the progress that we make, because I just find it hard to believe right here, right now, that we go into next season with Zach as the only veteran quarterback on our roster. You know, like I don't see a situation where we're coming in with Zach, we're coming in with, you know, a 4th round, 5th round draft pick, and you know that's it.
And Chris Treveler.
Yeah, and Chris Treveler. That
It would be malpractice with a
gonna
team that is this ready to go, that is this good. You know, you need to have a veteran. You either need to bring Mike White back, or you have to bring in a good veteran with a high floor.
Yeah,
That's what I would say. You don't necessarily have to have Peyton Manning in his time, but you need a solid, reliable quarterback. All you really need is like an Eli Manning. I might even go Trent Dilfer, but an Eli Manning, not the best regular season quarterback we've ever seen, but he managed to lift his game up when his team needed to do that. If the Jets can find that kind of a quarterback, if it's not Mike White, then that'd be pretty good.
Listen, in an ideal situation, Zach figures it out, right? In an ideal situation, Zach figures it out, and he's the guy. You know?
That's what we really. There's no argument that that's what we need to happen, because we know he has the higher ceiling if he does figure things out. So, I mean, really, what the organization needs, you know, more than anything, I think it's the biggest weight on our shoulders. Like I think that the one thing holding us back from completely feeling elated and amazing about where the team is going, if there's anything that was holding me back aside from the Breece Hall and worried he won't be the same, because I really think of him as like top 3 NFL running back game, you know, franchise changing type player, and I'm terrified that he's not going to be that because of this injury. Aside from that, because that does make me a little nauseous, to me the biggest problem on this team and our growth and everything we're happy about is just that worry and fear. If Zach doesn't work out, are we just going to be another, like you like to say, another good team, like another good team that simply doesn't have the quarterback to really be a threat to anyone at the end of the day? That's my biggest fear.
Well, you know, I guess the only thing you can worry about and control is what's on your plate this week, right? You know?
Yeah.
So we can talk about next year and hypothesize on what the quarterback room is going to look like all we want next year in the offseason, you know? For right here, right now, you know, I think until proven other, until we're, you know, if we take a nosedive and we lose our next 3 games and we're out of playoff contention, this and that, I think we'll see Zach. You know, I think if we're winning and we still have a chance, you know, I think it's Mike White's team. You know, I'm not sold on Mike White being the franchise quarterback, but I'm 100% sold on the idea that right here, right now, this week, he's the best quarterback on our roster. That's what we got.
This game means so much because we know what happened last time he played Buffalo. The fact is, he did it against an absolutely Bears defense that was strafed with injuries and a lack of talent. And last week, he played the worst passing defense yardage-wise in the NFL. Okay, and he put up very good numbers. He played well. You saw some good raw ability. Did make some throws that were either behind, too far, those types of things. You know, he wasn't perfect. But I'm not asking him to be perfect, but what I do want to have the confidence in is when this team plays against, say, a Miami at the end of the season, or when they go to KC or Baltimore, whatever the case may be, do I have confidence that he can drive the Jets down the field? This is the same question I had about Zach Wilson going into this season. Mm-hmm. Do I have confidence my quarterback can take us down the field when we're down 4 points and drive us to that game-winning touchdown? And his performance this week against this Bills defense, it's going to speak volumes for me.
Well, listen, I'm going to say this much. You know, you're not the first person that's raised the argument about the defenses that he played. But you're down 20-6 against a 9-2 team on the road, and to come back and literally being one bobbled catch in the end zone away from winning the game. It's impressive. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if it's Mount St. Mary School of the Blind. You know, to do that, to come back when adversity's in your face and step up and you know, have the support of your team, have the support of your coaches, and really bring your team, lead your team back. There's something to be said about that. Again, do I think it was Joe Montana-esque? Absolutely not. And you'll see as we go through it. I think there was missed opportunity. He's not a perfect quarterback. But as you said, when this move was made, I'll speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else. I never expected this to be, all right, Mike White, we're putting this team on your shoulders. Lead us. No, it was, do enough, play competent NFL quarterback and manage well, and I think he's done that and then some. I really do. Has it been perfect? Absolutely not. Are there limitations? Absolutely. But this is still a guy who started 5 games?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. The thing is, one of the things we don't talk about with him, and we're going to show the film and talk about it. Everyone's going to get to see him broken down on film as a player. So we're going to get to know him a little bit better. I know from what I've seen you do, like on the Patreon channel with Green Bean, I feel like I know him a lot better because I had the wrong impression. And some of it was right. There was a play where I was right about it when I got mad at him. But for the most part, though, you kind of re-educated me on this kid. But, the one thing we don't really talk about enough, I think, is that it's important. It matters. I mean, this is a leader position. Having your team behind you and believe in you matters. It means something. And these guys love him. Like, for whatever reason, how, they love him. And that's really important because if he's going to have any chance to lead us to 4-1 and lead us to a playoff win, that's one of the key things that, your players got to do, your teammates got to believe in you. And they believe in him. And I think that makes a difference. That can carry them further because that makes them all better when you believe in your quarterback.
I'll say this, guys. Look at the landscape of the NFL with all the backup quarterbacks that have been playing. Okay, Stafford's been out. So who's playing in the Rams? Where's Payo Time? What's his name? Wofford? Is that his name? Is that the
Wofford
guy's name?
And Bryce Perkins?
Yeah,
Perkins took over from Wofford. Yeah, they've had 3 quarterbacks. Yeah.
So and then you just whatever backup they in Houston they benched
Davis Mills for Kyle Allen. Yeah,
brought in Kyle Allen. They got this and that. If those guys, if you look at, and I'm not just talking about just the stat sheet, but those teams have struggled, right? Because they haven't been able to really take a grasp and move the offense. Mike White can move this offense, So if nothing more, he might, there might be limitations in his game, but he can competently get back up there and give you a fighter's chance. And that's all you can ask for your backup quarterback. Right? Because that's what he is. Like it or not, he came into the season, he was our backup quarterback. Now, the starter didn't work out for whatever reason, so now it's his time. Next man up, right? And he's shown that he at least to me, in the small sample size, he's shown that he can competently lead this offense. Is it perfect? It's not. It's not perfect. You know what I mean? Now, there's a lot of things that Zach can do that Mike White can't. That athletically they're on completely different wavelengths, but I also think they're on different wavelengths mentally, and Mike White much stronger. And when I'm talking mentally, I'm not talking like stability. I'm talking about the mental aspect of the game, understanding, reading off keys and getting through progressions and facing and making the right decisions. I think they're on different wavelengths right now. So
and I got a feeling you're going to show that to us.
I am. So why don't we get into it?
Let's get into it, guys. Look at everybody in the chat. In case you don't know, if you just joined us, what we got going on today is Dom C is going to take us through some film. He's identified a bunch of plays that he feels captures the essence of Mike White.
Good and bad. I don't cherry pick here. I want to make that completely clear. I don't have all the plays on here, but I just went for this thing, for this exercise. I went through quarter by quarter and just, took some plays that stuck out to me. Some of them are going to be very simple. Some of them we'll probably have to watch and go over or the 3 of us can, talk about it a little bit more in depth and with the chat. So
no, I think it's good that we're not. I think people hate it. If you take all bad, then it's like, oh, you're just a Zach Homer, and if you take all good, then it's like, because we do that with
You're not
college
quite
film.
truthful.
College film does that all the time. Like we'll play college film and go nuts. And there's always someone in the chat, usually a guy like Twisted, that'll say, yeah, but show his bad plays. Show the rest of the game and all the other plays. So I like that you're doing this. Everybody, we're gonna go to the film and we're gonna look at the good and the bad, the neutral, the whatever. We're just gonna look and understand this guy, what he does well, what he has to improve on, right? And maybe get an idea of what he can be for us. Now that right now he happens to be the guy.
That's it.
So
I'm going to share here. Let me know when you can see this.
All right,
oh yeah, I
Professor.
can see it.
You good?
Yeah.
Yep, we're good. We see the mouse. Everything is looking
Yeah,
kosher.
you can see us moving here.
Sure can.
Yeah.
And let's make this. Oh, let me make this bigger.
My big screen up
All right.
here.
So we're in the first quarter here, guys. It's the first drive that we have. Okay. So we're in 0-0-1 personnel. So we got 4 wide receivers or four players that are split. 1 running back, no tight ends, set up tight. All right. 2 by 2. They got 2 on one side of the ball, 2 on the short side, 2 on the wide side. All right. Pretty normal LaFleur kind of lineup. Minnesota here is in a 4-2-5. They're showing 2 deep here, and they're showing man across, right? So they're playing, they got he's covering here, he's covering here, he's covering here, he's covering here.
I'm
So
sure there's a guy under Dom right there. I'm sure there's another Minnesota player who's on the bottom receiver there.
What, right here? You can't see it?
I'm willing to bet there's another Minnesota player we can't see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. I think there's one more Minnesota player we can't see because we're in the way.
Oh, let me change the screen type, maybe.
Can we just if we could change that, that might help us.
Yeah, let me.
I don't know. I only see my screen, so I only see the game. So
Maybe
Okay.
get us to the side.
There we go. There's another player down there. Okay.
Yeah. So what we're gonna see is as the play starts, and we'll go through it. I'll play it through. And this is the interception. This is the first interception of Corey Davis. Okay. So you see it, boom, boom.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's uncomfortable.
We'll start with the bad. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start here. Listen, I want to go over the play. Okay. So what they do is they bring a little pressure. Okay. If you see right here, this nickel back comes in and pressure right here. Right. White's reading outside, right? And he sees the pressure's coming. He knows where the pressure's coming, so he makes the right read, right? He knows that he's going to have space here. If this safety is covering him, is on him on man, that's the right read. So I have no problem with that. All right. Now this linebacker kind of drops back and gets a little bit in the way, but not that much because he's actually manning up on the running back that's coming out here. So we all know what happened, right? And I'll let it play through and you can see it from here. It's not the perfect throw. It's a little bit behind him. I still don't understand how every time a pass goes off Corey Davis, it ends up bouncing straight up in the freaking air.
I know he's like from a video game. He's like a video game pinball machine bumper where any ball that touches him bounces up
straight up in the air.
And later in the game, Jefferson did the same thing. He hit a bump pass like he was playing volleyball, up right back into his arms.
Yeah, exactly.
So we snap, okay, and the read is right. All right. Yeah. He knows he's got the safety. He's got space. He makes the throw. It's just a hair behind him. And it's not even much. It to me, like I said, is it a perfect throw? It is not. It's definitely one that needs to get caught. Okay. So 2 things here. 2 things. And you can watch it again, and we'll watch it in fast speed from the rear angle. Okay. 2 things that I want to point out. One, again, I might be getting nitpicky, but I think he gets to the receiver a little too early. I think he hits him right before, which throws him off. Okay, so it's questionable pass interference. Okay, now more so, again, I'm not knocking Mike White. He made the correct read with that nickel guy coming on the blitz. That's your read. That's your hot read. That's your first read. That's the play. However, if he does come off of that, I just want to show. Look at Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson. They run this little route scheme here. A little dig in by Conklin and a little flat out of the backfield, which catches up this receiver. So if he does hit Ty Johnson here, Ty Johnson probably breaks it for a touchdown. Again, that's Monday morning quarterback stuff. I still think that he made the right read. He just didn't, it was unlucky. Throws a hair off. The safety gets to Corey Davis a hair early, in my opinion. And it's just the perfect storm of everything that could go bad went bad.
I got to ask you one more question about this play. One other player that caught my attention, and not in a good way. And I'm sorry to do this, but what the heck was Max Mitchell doing? He was like turning around, right, and not blocking anybody.
Where was
See,
it?
that could be connected to why isn't he playing the rest of the year? Maybe something's
What the
going
heck
on.
was he doing? What the
Something
heck was
was
he
I'm
doing?
going to be honest with you, Watsuka, I didn't even look at him this play.
No, it's okay. That's okay. I just happened to notice this. He turns around and
Yeah, well, if you see,
yeah.
so watch this edge as he's going.
Okay.
Watch the edge.
Sure, that'd be something to watch here.
Watch the edge on this right here. He stops and he drops.
Okay.
So it's like a little zone blitz.
Okay.
Sucking him.
Yeah. So he dropped back. He was dropping back into coverage. So Max Mitchell and now I don't know, and it's good. It's a good point. Let's see if this inside guy causes havoc. Does Herbie pick him up? No, Herbie picks him up. It's kind of it doesn't really affect the play, but I think that's what Max was waiting for him to rush, and he didn't.
Okay.
But again, listen, it's a hair behind him. It's a hair behind him. The guy gets there a little bit early. It's the right read. It's just a minute off. No, this guy vacates this hook zone. It's wide open. Probably even more so. What he should have done is instead of throwing it on him so much, he had all this space here. He probably could have let him out a little bit more and let him run into it, but he didn't. Threw it a little bit behind him, and so be it. It is what it is. It bounced up, and we got unlucky. So we'll get into the next one here. Oh, I went too far. Hang on.
I went too far. Too much.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. So we're in 11 personnel, right? There's our tight end. We got 1, 2, 3 receivers. We got our running back. They're still showing their 4-2-5, which they played predominantly in this game. I'd say about 80 to 85% of the game they played a base nickel defense against us. Now, what they did in the first half a lot, and you'll see it on this play as well, is they used this to blitz. They blitzed a lot in the first half. They filled a lot of holes. They, tried to cause some havoc and shut down our run game by blitzing off angles, the lightnings and the thunders with the, the nickel backs and the cornerbacks coming in, so on and so forth. And I don't think we were necessarily ready for it. Either we weren't ready for it, or our guys were struggling. Maybe the offensive line was struggling a little bit with the pickups and whatnot. But it definitely threw a wrench into our running game. And I think maybe getting down 20-3 as quick as we did in the first half, that also threw in much more of a wrench into our running game. So we got away from it real quick. Now in the second half, to our advantage, Minnesota makes a lot of changes. Minnesota stops blitzing. Minnesota stops going into man coverage. Minnesota drops off into these very, very soft zones. And Mike LaFleur was a step ahead of it and, schemed out a lot of good plays and got a lot of guys open. Mike White started making some real good throws, but we'll get into that. Let's talk about one play at a time here. So they got their 4-2-5. They're showing they're too deep. Okay. And they blitz again. They're blitzing on this play, and you can see they're blitzing off this edge right here. So again, they're showing man to man, And they're blitzing on this end. Okay. Now, this is a great play. Okay.
Oh, it's opening up.
Yeah. Now I'm going to rewind that for you guys. I want to go over how this comes about. Play action, show and counter to the right. Okay.
Man.
And Mike White does a great job. The orbit that Corey Davis, goes into, they knew that this was going to be wide open. Now, the bigger part of it is I want to show you what they do at the top of the screen. You saw the play action fake. They show counter, but they don't not only show counter, they kind of fake the screen. See how the lineman started to retreat this way? So he had all the defense was flowing off this way. Mike White knew once this blitzer was coming here, they were in man coverage over here. So he knew this was going to be wide open. So Mike LaFleur, Mike White, great job here. They sold the fake on the screen. Everyone bit. Corey Davis gets wide open on this little orbit wheel route. First down. It's a great play. A perfectly schemed play. For all the bad for all the shit that Michael LaFleur ate this past week, and some of it was deservedly so because his red zone offense is, there's a lot to be desired. He was a step ahead in a lot of stuff. And that play right there shows one. He knew exactly what would happen, and Mike White let it happen. You know what I mean? Mike White said, okay, if they're going to blitz, if they're going to keep blitzing out of this nickel package, these nickel backs are going to come in, that's leaving man coverage on the outsides with their safeties or their cornerback. They're showing a zone. They're really playing man. That was going to be wide open all day long. So it was I thought it was a great play. We can watch it from this end too. And you can watch how everyone flows over to the right from the counter and then the little screen fake and just leaves it wide open.
All 5 offensive linemen go to the right.
A planned swing or, little orbit swing, I know the run of the mill person will say, oh, there it is. Another little check down by Mike White, but that plan was exactly schemed that way. And it was schemed perfectly. So here's another play. This is one of those simple ones, man. These are the plays that I really like out of Mike White. Let's get our setup. We're in 11, right? We're stacked here to the wide side. We're 3-by-1 because our tight end's on that side as well. And they got their 4 here, they got their 2, and they got their 5 here, right? So they're showing their 2 deep. And they bring more comes in motion. Yeah, more comes in motion. And what happens? Nothing, right? So that they're sticking in some sort of zone, right? That's their zone scheme tell. Nickelback stays home, right? Now, since they had the 3-by-1, they had 2 receivers and a tight end there, and now one of them moves this way. Now this nickelback blitzes, right? And they drop back into their 1-2-3 deep zone. He kind of cheats over a little bit here. Corey Davis is his first read. Not there. I want to show it to you again. This is like taking what's given to you. All right. If you watch Mike White after the fake, Corey Davis is his first read right here, right? And it's closed. It's closed. Okay. No, it's Corey Davis right here. Yeah, but they're both closed. So the only thing you have there is this little swing pass, is this little check down. And listen, it gains you 5 yards. It's nothing crazy, but it's positive yardage. He gets through his progressions. 1, 2, 3. Right? He looks.
And Bam was coming wide open up top. Bam was coming open up late.
He looks at the top. This big is closed right here. There's nowhere to throw that. This is closed right here. This is the only option right here. Yeah, you have this little chip and release that's coming up, but by that time, he's already thrown the ball, right?
Yeah, he's already throwing it. Yep.
Yeah, he's already thrown that ball. So you take what this is, like I said, this is the progressions that, you hope that your quarterback can get you through. 1, closed. 2, closed. 3, let's get the ball out. We got a little pressure. Can't wait. Yes, if this pocket's a little cleaner, maybe you can step up and you can hit Bam somewhere out here. But he's hitting a wide open guy and getting positive yards. It's a good job of taking what's given to you.
Well, I mean, Salah says it all the time, right? He's like, don't
Makes it easy look easy.
boring football. I mean, I'm Green Bean, 4 yards wins the game.
That's
There's a million different ways to say it. I mean, you just take what the defense gives you, and good things happen.
Yeah. Our next play here, we're back in that 4 wide, 1 running back, 0-1 personnel, 3 by 1, right? They're in their 4-2-5. There's your 4. There's your 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive. They're showing they're 2 deep off. They're 2 deep off. So that should tell you the initial key is that they're playing some sort of quarters, right? So this guy's going to play this quarter. He's going to play a hash. He's going to play a hash, and he's going to play some quarters. And these guys will play in the underneath in the hook zones over here. Okay.
Hey, last week you said, like, if we were defending this, when you have 3 like that, the 3 lined up together, they're gonna go to different levels, right?
That's right. Yeah. When you have trips on one side, the majority of the pass, the route breakdowns are gonna be a level. It's gonna be levels. One guy should go shallow, one guy should be intermediate, and one guy should go deep. Now, again, that depends upon the defense that they're showing you. And I think, as a matter of fact, if I don't remember this play all that much, like to a T. So let's look at what the patterns they give us here. Let's see if you see it. And you see, there it is. There's your short. There's your intermediate. And actually, they stop here on a dig. So this guy, I thought was going to take up down. So they actually they ran their little flat from the inside, and then they hung these 2 guys in the intermediate. So they're I don't know exactly what they're reading to not take the deep. Probably the 2 safeties here. But anyway, White's first read is Garrett Wilson on the short side, but the defensive back steps up. Okay. Let's rewind it a little bit.
Okay.
You find Garrett on the short side. He's solo. So he's the first. Now, I want you to watch this defensive back. Remember what I told you, how they're off, so they're showing that quarters look. Watch what that defensive back does at the snap. He steps up, right? So now he knows this little hook or this little comeback that he's running is off, right? That's his first read, right? These 2 guys, there's man right here, there's man right here. There's nothing here but that swing. Okay? So great yardage. Again, I think Bam Knight does this, and you can watch this from this yard. You can watch this from this view right here. He's looking left. That press comes up. He looks right. These guys are all dropped. So no one's open right here. So he knows he's going to Bam right here. He waits, gets Bam in clearance, and then Bam, 1 step, boom, and gets vertical. That's what Bam Knight does, and what he brings to the offense. That's what we miss from Breece, is that ability to get vertical. He gets 1 cut and then just goes, man. There's no lollygagging. There's no hesitation. He finds it, catches the ball, steps, and goes up. And look, and he fights, and he gets 9 of the 10 yards that we need. Again, they schemed it well defensively. There is nothing here. Our first read of Garrett Wilson was closed down here. As he scans through, he sees 3 defensive backs or 3 defensive players who are 2 receivers. His only option is this was wide open. And thank God Bam's a good athlete. Boom. And he cuts it up. So watch it one more time. And then watch Mike White as he's looking. He waits and waits and waits before he turns. He's looking off these linebackers, right? That's a skill that most quarterbacks you would hope have at this level. You can't see it well because of the camera, but he's still looking, he's looking, and at the last second, he then turns, he plants, steps into the throw here. That's the one thing that that we get from him that we don't get from Zach. His fundamentals don't break down. Reed's not there. Pump, pump, pump. He's holding off the linebackers. And then he just jams, steps into his throw, leads his guy, held off these linebackers long enough so Bam can get it in space, make a cut and go. Again, not flashy, very effective, nonetheless.
So little wasted energy, so little wasted movement, especially from Bam in the field. I like that.
Some people are already complaining that these plays show nobody open, which means they're attacking LaFleur. I'm going to tell everybody. Tell everybody, just be patient. Just be patient because there's a switch. This game turns a little bit, and that's even more impressive, and that's a positive because that means adjustments.
And let's all be open to learning. I mean, I'm totally open to changing my mind one way or another. So, hey, the more we can learn, it's, the better we all are. So even if that means we were wrong about something.
Yeah. Well, listen, to that argument from the chat, I mean, that scheme right there, remember that Corey Davis first down on that orbit wheel route? I mean, you couldn't have schemed anybody open there. That first play, the interception, again, Michael. Again, I'm not a Michael LaFleur fucking stan, and I'm not defending him, this and that and the other thing. But I call it like I see it. Like that first play, that was schemed perfectly. They ran Conklin in on that little dig route that picked the defender to allow Ty Johnson to get open the flat. Mike White just never got to that read because he made the proper read. It just happened to bounce off Corey Davis' shoulder pads. You know what I mean? So there's guys that are open. All right, here we go. 12 personnel, 2 tight ends on one side. You're twinned on the wide side. Again, 4-2-5, showing you're too deep. You got your cornerbacks up, so they're showing man, right? This is a play. This is not the greatest, I don't think, technical play by Mike White. It's really, this is not, and I also don't think it's a great concept. I never liked these little screens. But they're trying to develop a tight end screen here to Uzomah that just doesn't develop. It's nothing. It's a play that gets batted down at the line. But why I wanted to show you, so the defense isn't fooled by Uzomah here. And I don't know what Mike's doing, but if you watch him right here, he's trying to throw the ball now. And I think he doesn't realize that this guy's right here, right? So he's hesitating. So he pumps. And now he's all off. And look how he throws the ball. He's not stepping into it. Throwing from his back foot. Just all arm. Now he tries to throw it down. My guess is that he's trying to throw it at the feet of Uzomah, knowing that the play is down. It gets batted away. But I just didn't like the whole way that play developed. And more so, I didn't like how anxious Mike White looked behind center on this play. I'll watch it. We can watch it again. Again, for all the good that he does, like I said, you still get some of these. And I just think he's a little bit off. So he's reading, pump fake. He's looking. He wants to throw it here, but he can't. So now he's off. So once he pumps and brings his foot back, now he's forced to throw it off his back foot. And he ends up getting batted away. Now, if he completes his pass, what happens? Nothing. Uzomah gets blown up here, probably for a loss. So it's probably a good thing that it got knocked down at the line. Not Mike White's best technical play, but here's a better one. All right. This is a simple play we're going to get into here. We're getting into the second quarter now. 24. Oh, too far. Oh, that's good. Okay.
25.
Yep, sorry. Too far. Okay. 12 personnel. We got 2 tight ends right here. We're paired wide. We're 2 by 2 with the wide receivers to the wide side. Now, Minnesota switches off. They're out of their nickel defense. They're into their base. Here's their 3-4. Here's their 3 linemen. Here's their 2 outside linebackers. And here's their 2 inside linebackers. Corner, corner, safety, safety. Okay? Base 3-4. What do you guys see here? Anything? Jeremy, Adam, since Shaq can't talk to me? What do you see anything in particular that throws you off? Anything? It's okay if you don't know or if you don't see anything in particular.
Yeah, it looked like those 4 guys are playing that the whole game, though. Like every time you show their defense, it looks the same to me. Those 4 and the 2 in the inside.
Well,
They said they have 5 on the line.
Well, yeah,
One-
they do. They do. He's an outside linebacker. He's an
Hunter
outside
and
linebacker.
Smith.
They got 3 down linemen. But what I want to point out is that here, right? Garrett Wilson right here.
Smith
Right?
is that far off.
There's nobody on him.
Oh, look how far he is from him.
There's nobody on him,
Okay.
right? So Mike White does a good job here. It's simple. He reads right to left. He reads his line. These linebackers are his key. I'm on the play. He reads right. He sees what happens. He sees what these guys are doing, right? And everyone kind of just stays home, and everyone's in their little zone. This middle linebacker, he reads him here. So he just throws to an open man. Let's do it again. Watch it. Watch it in fast time. He reads right to see what happened, and everyone's dropping, but no one ever that safety was responsible for Garrett Wilson.
Was that a miscommunication on their part?
Nope. It's just a bad. Our scheme beat their scheme. That's it. They played their strength. They're strong to our strength, which is our tight ends, right? Here's a tight end. So he's got this zone right here. So Mike White, when he sees that he sees that this stays home, his next key is to go over to this linebacker. What's he doing? He's staying home too. So he knows he's got Garrett Wilson wide open.
It's amazing how fast he figures all this out. I like the quarterback position.
Yeah. He looks right.
Yeah, man.
He looks right. He looks at this linebacker. He looks at this linebacker. He goes to the open man. I mean, that's NFL progression right there. You can see it again. Watch his head. Watch his eyes. Snap. Boom. Looking right. Right? He wants to see if they're going to blitz because they tend to blitz when there's no wide receiver on that side. All right? But he doesn't. The outside linebacker drops back. So he looks at these inside linebackers. Now they're the key. They stay home in this hook zone. He knows that. Boom. Simple pitch and catch. Nothing crazy. Smart progression. Smart play. Okay, here we go. What? I can't see this. Is that 2507? Is that what it says?
2507, yeah. Yep, 2507.
I'm a little late. I'm a little early, I mean. Okay. 0-1 personnel. All right, empty backfield, 3 by 2. This is a running back. This is a tight end, but they're split out wide in their empty package, right? This is a 3rd and long, all right? This is not one of Mike White's greatest plays, all right, in my opinion, all right? He looks. Garrett Wilson's his read right here. This is Garrett out wide, okay? Garrett Wilson's closed. So Mike White dumps out to Ty. Again, this is a 3rd and long, okay? And they got 1, 2, 3. They got 3 down linemen. They got 2 linebackers. They're playing with an extra linebacker. Big
I just want to say
I
just want to say during the game when this play happened, me and Green, like this is where me and Green were pissed, and I was texting my brother on the phone saying. And I was wrong because I thought it was every play. But because of this play, I was like, this guy goes right to his check down. He doesn't see anything. He looks at one receiver. He's garbage. He'll be
so
limited.
we were talking about this on Green Bean's channel.
Yeah.
Now, ideally, like, the read's not wrong. His read was Garrett Wilson. His read's from the outside in. So Garrett Wilson on this little slant is completely closed, right? Not only do they have the 4 across in the zone, they're also playing the safety over top of him. So there's nowhere for him to put this ball to Garrett Wilson. So you have, I think that's Ty Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. It could be Bam Knight.
It's Ty, yeah.
Yeah, who just chipped off and released. So here's the play. All right. He gets 3 yards on 3rd and something. My guess, honestly, is that LaFleur or whoever's in his helmet before this play says, listen, it's third and long. You can't take a sack here. Get rid of the ball no matter what, because he only gets through those 2 progressions. There's not a lot of heat on him.
Do you think there's a chance that, stop it right there, keep it stopped.
Yeah.
You think it's a chance that he didn't think both those guys are staying to tackle Ty? Do you think he thinks in this moment, like, someone's going to follow Garrett Wilson, and now you got a one-on-one where Ty might be able to beat the guy?
You know what? I just think, like I said, I just think he was probably had a little too quick of a trigger finger, because he's got a good pocket. He's not under pressure. And if you look, this ball's already out of his hand, right? This ball's already out of his hand.
Right.
Now, if I play it through, look at Uzomah here. He's wide open. Now, is this any better than this? Probably not. That's not going to get your first down, but you have at least 4 more yards of separation to make something happen. Right?
Yeah, but by this point, the ball's in the air, and the linebackers, his focus is already on Ty Johnson. It's going away from Uzomah.
I'm not talking about Ty Johnson. I'm talking about this guy right here. I'm talking about this deep, this corner, You're talking about the corner, not the linebacker. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now, but even more so, like I said, there's a good pocket. There's no pressure. Look at the dig. Look at Elijah Moore here. He's open. He's past the sticks. Listen, I know, because this ball's already dumped off, that this safety who was in this deep third had kind of creeped up. He probably would have been back here. But why not take a shot right here? You have a fair window. It's not tight. You have a shot to make the first down. I just think that this play, he's a little trigger happy. He got a little fast on the check down, or really just coming off the first read and not getting through all of them. But again, he could have been told, it's 3rd and long. If Garrett's not there, get it out into the flat and get some positive yardage. Don't take a sack. Don't intercept. Don't turn the ball over, so on and so forth. So not the best Mike White play. Not going to lie. Here it is again.
But also not disgusting. He didn't throw an interception. He didn't throw it he didn't throw it 5 yards at his feet.
Yeah, when I say not the best Mike White play, I meant in regard to his processing.
Yeah, it was good and bad with every quarterback in the NFL if you analyze it like this.
All right, I gotta get. Okay. Oh, look at that! I got it perfect. Here we go. We're in 11 personnel, 2x2, tight. There's our 2. There's our 2. We got 1 running back. They're in 4-2-5. They're showing their 2 deep that they've been showing all game long, right? 4 down linemen, 2 middle linebackers, 5. They're showing this 2 deep shell. Mike White's reading right to left here, right? Corey Davis on the outside. Corey Davis is right here. He's the low man. He's the first read, and he's completely cut off. He's closed. He runs that little hook, and the linebackers don't drop, and he's closed, right? So Mike tries to put it into a tight window right there. It gets batted down, and that's probably a good thing, okay? Because I think it's a little bit aggressive. And when I play it through, I went too far back. Sorry. When I play it through, you'll see what I'm talking about. So he gets off that read. He looks for the other slant, and it gets knocked down the line. Watch it here. Watch this play. Okay. So you see Mike. He reads Corey is not there. He reads this other slant, and he tries to put it in this tiny little window here. Thank God it gets batted down at the line, because I have a feeling that this linebacker would have ran it straight home.
That's what he's saying to his guy.
Yeah.
No, don't knock
It would
that.
have been in my hands.
Yeah.
You know?
He's saying it.
Watch it again from this. Watch it again from this angle, and then I'm going to bring it back and show you something else. So there's a window. There is a window. There's a window right here that he's trying to hit Garrett Wilson. It's tight. It's tight. He's hoping that Garrett Wilson can get here, because that's where he's trying to put the ball. If you look, this guy gets his paw on it right about here. So this ball is supposed to come right out here. But it's a tight, it's a pretty tight window by the time everything closes down. You know, and the ball gets batted away. All right, no harm, no foul.
Wow, he was right in the middle. Yeah, Wilson, if he caught that ball, he's right in the middle of 4 Vikings defenders. Man, that means somebody's got to be open somewhere. I got to think somewhere else on the field.
Here's what I want to show you. I want you to watch it again. I'm going to watch it full speed. All right, this is Corey Davis' first read, and then he goes right to Garrett Wilson here on the outside. Watch Elijah Moore right here, guys. Can you see him?
Yep. Unlike the quarterback, so we could see him.
Delays, fades.
Oh, shit.
Tom, please tell me you're going to show us the 4th down that we didn't convert. Please tell me we're going to do that one too.
He delays, he fades, and they have a miscommunication here. I think that they all went to Garrett Wilson. We'll watch it again, unfortunately. It's broken coverage. You know, and again, I'm not saying that Mike Wright made the wrong read here, right? Because he's off. He knows that this is closed, and he knows he's got a window right here where he can hit Garrett. You know, it's tight, it's aggressive, but it's there. But there's broken coverage here. This safety, who's playing the middle third, crashes down on Garrett. This corner, who's playing this outside third, crashes down on Garrett, thinking that this corner, who's got flat responsibility, is going to carry with him, and he doesn't. Look at him.
Oh my God!
Look at him.
Touchdown, 6 points.
Yeah, you know
that's like Corey Davis in Cleveland. Okay,
coulda, shoulda, woulda. Again, I'm not saying it's the wrong read, but you know it's a game of seconds and it's a game of inches, right? We know what inches means when we have a toe on the line, or we have a ball that hits our hands in the end zone and we just can't keep control. So we know the game of inches, and it's a game of seconds too, because if he can get off of that Garrett throw and he just catches Elijah, in his peripheral, that's a touchdown.
Well, I mean, it's amazing how every week there seems to be one like that. Like, it happens all the time. And I'm wondering, because look, it's not like we went from 4-13 and everything clicked and now we're the best we could version of what we could be. Is there possibly going to be a time where we're going to look more like Kansas City and more like San Francisco when they're on, and be more explosive because we're going to hit those plays because we're going to be older and more experienced?
Well, that's right. That's right. And,
yeah,
and you know what?
Yeah,
I think that's a good, Jeremy. I think that's a great point. And if you think about it, like, even though the circumstances were a little bit different, the Chicago game, we hit all of those, right? Any opening that we had, we made sure we took advantage of. That's the like I said, that's what it was, the difference between the Minnesota game and the Chicago game, is that all of those things were converted. We hit on all those to score. Ty Johnson, makes a great run and breaks a tackle to score. Where in this game, if there was that same play in this game, he would have got tripped up. And we'll talk about the big Garrett Wilson play later on. I'll show you. I'll show you that. The one where he steps by a hair out on the end zone. 10 yards into that, if he cuts inside, he's got 2 blockers in a perfect lane. He scores a touchdown. Like I said, it's a game of inches and a game of seconds, man. So, But here's a good play. All right. I know I ran off like 3 kind of not so great ones in a row. And I tell you guys, chat, like I think there's a lot more good than bad. All right. I'm not saying it's perfect. And, like this is like the examples like that Elijah Moore on that delay fade right there, wide open. That's just like meat we left on the bone, man. Mike White didn't make the wrong read. It's just like it's just inopportune that we don't, we can't get out. It happens like a fraction too later. If it's a fraction longer, if he holds on to that a fraction longer before he commits to Garrett Wilson in that tight spot, he probably swings that to Elijah and we're gone. But here we are back in our 0-1 personnel, right? We got 2 and 2, got our wide receiver. They're in their 4-2-5 nickel. Now they're going to blitz, right? I'm going to show you. No, I'm sorry. I have the wrong play. I apologize. Hang on. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
32-58. Yeah, 4-2-5 nickel. So they're back in. Here's the safety. He's creeped up here, right? So it looks like they're showing man across here with off coverage here with a 1 deep safety. But he's not. See, that safety drops back.
So they're dropping that.
Yeah, so they drop, and they're in a straight 2 deep 4 under zone. This is very, very, very typical. Actually, the linebacker drops back a lot further, so this is more Tampa 2 schemed, where he's covering this deep middle, and they got deep third on this side. Nothing crazy here on this play. Mike White recognizes it, and he hits Garrett Wilson right at the sticks, right? It's a zone beater, man. He makes the right read. And for all those guys who are saying Mike LaFleur doesn't scheme anybody open, here's a perfect example of a great play, all right? So we talked about, Jeremy, you brought it up last time. When we have trips on one side, you can assure one. You can usually assure one thing, that you're going to see a levels concept, right?
Yeah.
So you have paired here, and you have the running back here, and look what they run.
Level.
There's your level concept. There's your flat. There's your intermediate, and there's your deep route. Now, let's go back and watch it again. All right. And why is this a smart play? Why is this? Mike LaFleur needs some credit here, because look at the defense. As they come, you got 4 rushers here, right? You have 3 guys right here, and really only 2 guys that are in play.
2 defenders.
So Mike White's just got to choose. All right, which guy is going to be? Which guy is more open? And Garrett Wilson's at the sticks. It's a tight throw. He zips it in there. First down.
See, that's where someone said, "Oh, Zach would have seen Elijah," but the Zach that we've been seeing, and don't get me wrong, I love the kid, and I think he'll eventually do it, and I think he's perfectly capable of doing this. But the Zach we saw against New England, when we look at the tape, doesn't make that throw. He hesitates. No,
listen, Elijah runs a hitch right to the sticks, and he hits him. He could have dumped it off. He could have hit, he could have hit that little out flat route right there. But this is more open. This is the better decision. It's the right decision. You got 2 defenders. You got 3 receivers. How are you going to play it? Well, this guy just stays close enough home he's in contact with this flat. This guy travels a little bit too deep with this, with this guy who's going deep here, and leaves Garrett Wilson for a split second wide open. And that split second is all Mike White needs.
And he knew he had to drill it in there.
Yeah. Listen, again, smart. He knew what he was looking at. He knew it was 4 across, zone defense, straight through. You had the middle linebacker dropping back, Tampa 2, concept. And he had the zone beater. So he had 3 guys going into zones where there was only 2 defenders. So all Mike White had to do was hit the open guy, and he did for first down. Kudos to him, man. All right. Next one here. All right. 11 personnel, 2x2 on the wide receivers are split out on the wide side. All right. They're in their 4-2-5. And this is where I believe they're going to blitz here. Right. And they're going to blitz here and they're going to drop here. In essence, which is cover 6, which is half the field's kind of like a cover 4 technique where you have 2 safeties here and half of it, and then you have a third safety. Half of the field's kind of playing cover 2, which is what adds up to the cover 6 guys. 2 plus 4 is 6. Mike White does a good job here stepping up, but I think this is a play that shows kind of some of the deficiencies that he has in regards to his mobility and really throwing on the run. Play action, not the low pressure. He steps up, and it looks like he just floats that. Right? It's like It's not the greatest throw. It's not the greatest throw. Now he looks a little clumsy as he's stepping up, and if you notice, he just doesn't. I mean, there's 2 guys that are open. Garrett's open. Garrett Wilson's open right there.
Yep. Garrett's open. Elijah's open.
He just doesn't have enough oomph to get the ball there. Corey Davis is open right here too, but if he can't get it there, he's not going to get it there. Now, in fairness, he's running forward, trying to throw the ball against his body to the sideline. So it's not the easiest throw, but I think these are the kind of plays that show like just the athletic deficiencies that he has.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's why we say at their ceiling, when someone says, well, what do you mean Zach has a higher ceiling? He's playing terrible, like an anti-Zach person or whatever, which it shouldn't be. We should all be Jet fans talking intelligently. But like if you want an example of higher ceiling, it's if Zach gets over everything, is able to see the field and go through these progressions, he is able to make that throw on the run.
Yeah. But even more so, what this throw, even though take the incompletion aspect out of it, this reminds me so much of Chad Pennington. Like I said, I talked about it. I think the ceiling for Mike White is Chad Pennington, and this throw, he looks like Chad Pennington. Just there, Chad was pretty fast. He was faster, but just the way he holds the ball as he's running, as he's gathering, there's not a lot of oomph on here. Man, I didn't even notice. Oof. Watch this. Watch Bam Knight. Watch Bam Knight on this, guys. Right here. Just levels that guy. I love it. But yeah, like there's just not listen, it's a hard throw to begin with, throwing across the field, across your body. You would think that Zach or maybe a much more, a quarterback who has better mobility or more arm talent will make that throw. So just, like I said, I'm not trying to harp on the negative, but you got to show the deficiencies also.
Yeah.
Because he's open.
No, it's an important thing to show. Like, it doesn't mean Mike White can't be a good quarterback or be effective. It just means now, even if you're a big Mike White guy, you should still be aware that there are limitations. There are things that he doesn't do. Well, I think that's an example of something he doesn't do.
I think that play is perfect for all the guys that were screaming bloody murder. Can we roll him out? Can we get him in space? No, let's not. Let's give Mike White the time to, kind of be cerebral, make his reads, and step into a throw and throw it, because that's what he does best.
Yeah,
and he's been facing as little pressure as any quarterback these last 2 weeks. He has pockets. He has time to throw the ball.
Yeah. No, listen, there was a little pressure on that one, but it's no problem. Like, he stepped up. He did the right thing. He just, like I said, he's running forward and then trying to throw it, 20 yards across your body. He doesn't have the arm strength to do that.
Yeah, he's going to be like, if he's going to be successful, he's going to be successful just staying in the pocket.
Yeah.
He's a pocket passer.
Now, this is a great play. I love this play. This was probably one of my favorite on the tape for Mike White and just for the whole concept of it. Okay. Sorry. We're in 11 personnel. We got our 2 out here. Got our 1 and our tight end here. And they're in their nickel, right? They're actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like they're in some sort of dime set, right? Minnesota blitzes here. This is something they didn't do a lot in the second half. They did a lot in the first half, but they bring some extra pressure here, right? Play action fake. Great time, great pocket, steps up, throws a bullet.
Wow.
Throws a bullet.
That's
now,
a
what I
beautiful
want to watch, forget about Mike White. All right, let's watch Mike White here. All right. Gathers, steps forward, steps into the ball, throws a bullet. So it's the complete opposite in regards to arm strength that he showed on that last play. But even more so, guys, watch Garrett here. Watch Garrett on the bottom. He's just filthy. Blah, 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 boom.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah. And if you watch it from this angle, like, again, I think even more so, kudos to Mike White on this play. He puts it to a place where only Garrett Wilson is going to catch it.
Love that ball placement.
Yeah. Garrett Wilson is the only person that's going to catch it. As a matter of fact, he has this. Garrett Wilson does this thing. I think it's, not the greatest in the world. Not the greatest habit in the world, but he tends to jump when he doesn't have to jump.
He does.
That is true.
He learned it from Mims.
Yeah. But the ball is placed where only he could catch it. The guy's pretty tight, even though he got schooled and broke his ankles. He got schooled, and Garrett Wilson, off man coverage. I'll take Garrett Wilson in off man coverage against any defensive back in the league. Like I feel strongly about that. Press man coverage, he struggles to get off the line at times. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the strongest guy. He never had to do it that much in college, right? But if you give him off man coverage, where you give him a cushion and playing a man to man, Garrett Wilson is going to toast you every single time. Every single time. I thought this was a great play, man. I thought top to bottom, it was a phenomenal play. I can watch all day long. Boom, steps up, good strong throw. Like, that's quarterback play. That's setting up the defensive back. That's beautiful.
That was like all for Garrett, because you could see Conklin and Davis on the right side. Looks like their real intentions were to block and just hold everything in check.
Yeah, well, they I think they knew it was going to be set up. That play was just set up to succeed. All right, here we go. We talked about before, like, some of those plays where you leave the meat on the bone. Some of the missed opportunities that you had. Here's one.
Yeah.
I think this, like I said, this is not necessarily a knock on Mike White, because I think he makes the right read here. And there's a lot going on in this play. I think Mike White makes the right read. All right, but I want to point a couple things out to you now. We're in 11 personnel, 2x2. We have the wide receivers stacked to the short side, which is not normal. Normally, we have our wide receivers. When there's a tight end in the formation, we have our wide receivers out to the wide side. All right. But they switched it up here. All right. They got Corey Davis out solo to the right with the tight end. And they got Garrett in the slot, and they got Moore outside. Okay. So they got the 4-2-5. They're showing single high man. But what are they doing with this safety?
Playing off.
Well, he's playing off, but even more so, what do? He shaded right to Garrett Wilson. Mm-hmm. What they're doing, they see how they have three receivers. They have three defenders right here, guys. They're playing high-low. They're bracketing him. So now they're saying, okay, Garrett's getting too much. We're going to give a little help. Remember all that back and forth between DJ Reed and Justin Jefferson? Justin Jefferson's like, oh, you have to, you guys had to show a safety on my side all the time. Well, guess what? Minnesota started doing the same thing. They started doing the same thing. They gave their cornerbacks a little bit of extra coverage here. So they're cheating the safety. They're bracketing Garrett Wilson.
Wow. He's a rookie.
Yeah. So there's a lot that goes on in this play. All right. First off, I think it's illegal contact. I think this should have been a flag. I'm going to play it through. You'll know the play. Okay. You'll know the play. There's contact there. No, ball's incomplete. That should have been called. It's beyond 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. I don't think it's
These refs.
I don't think it's incidental, but again, that might be nitpicking here. Whoa. But
It's what the refs call against us constantly.
Yeah.
And they call everything they can against us, and there's so many things that don't get called against us.
It's amazing.
It's the right read, because if he gets through that clean, he's wide open. That corner, that ball's here. And that's where Garrett Wilson is. That's a touchdown if he gets through that clean.
Right.
Okay. So I don't think it's a bad. I think it's the right read by Mike White. Okay. But I want you to watch that same side. We know the play that happens. Here's Elijah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's Elijah. Boom. Nobody here. If he hits Elijah on this, it's damn near close to a touchdown. Maybe not a touchdown, but
probably inside the 5, I would say.
Definitely a first down. And this was a third down play, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, I can't necessarily knock Mike White because I think he made the right read. Garrett Wilson on the corner is the read. It's the first read, and it's open. He couldn't.
I think what people don't understand, though, Dom, is people act like it's like us playing two-hand touch when we get in the huddle, and you're looking for any play, and then you miss the guy that was wide open. What people don't understand is that I don't know if everybody understands the progression. Like You're telling me, I want to make sure I understand this. His job is to look at the first progression, and if it's there, you take it.
That's right.
So you're absolutely see the second progression and the third progression. He did his job.
Yeah. Now, if this is cut off, if this corner here has an outside shade to him and is playing here instead of in his hip pocket, then that's closed. Then he goes to the second read, which I can only assume is going to be Elijah Moore. It's probably 1 from the slot, 2 on the outside, and then 3 on the outside or the corner out here, right? But like I said, this is third down, and it's just unfortunate. These are the plays that ended up like costing us, right? We ended up with a field goal here, but Elijah Moore, if he comes off of that for whatever reason and gets the ball to Elijah Moore, look where Elijah Moore catches it. He's at the first down marker. At worst, he gets to the 5-yard line. He got first down inside the 5-yard line. Like,
my only question to that is, I mean, it probably exists. There's a version of this play where Elijah Moore is the first progression, right?
Sure, but that wasn't called. And listen, this guy's open out here. I know people say it all the time. Oh, look, he's wide open here if he throws out here. But he's not even looking at that side of the field. You can watch it from the back. He never hit his read is corner route to the inside. He doesn't even look right. He looks left the whole time because that corner route, which is his first read, is wide open. Just Garrett gets bumped enough. There's enough contact there that just throws the timing of it off. So Mike White makes the right read here. And it's a good throw. There's nothing wrong with the throw. If Garrett doesn't get caught up with that guy, he's in the corner there. And it's a field goal. It's a touchdown. But again, one of those plays where you just left too much meat on the bone. One of those missed opportunities.
But what does LaFleur do after seeing this tape? He's watched the tape this week. Is he tempted to say, hey, look what Elijah does on that route. I want to next time I want to make sure we find him on that. Like, does he learn from it? Does he play with it, you think?
Listen, Jeremy, to be honest with you, like when they were going over this film on Monday, he might have read Mike the Riot Act and said, hey, you had bracketed safety coverage over there. You got to know that, you got to come off of that first read and hit the second read. I don't know exactly. I can only tell you from my little bit of expertise, what I see and what I know, that Garrett Wilson's the read and that corner route is open. You know, I don't think you can account for the guy getting bumped 7 yards off the ball.
Right.
You know? So
I'm just
Well,
hoping, like, does that mean that because this is the second time we've seen Elijah wide open, like, does Mike LaFleur say, I've got to get this guy involved? Like, or is it just bad luck and he's the first progression when that doesn't happen? You know?
yeah. I mean, it could be. I mean, listen, maybe this is the game where, you know, we have a lot of tape now that shows Garrett Wilson, you know, deserves, you know, is going to get the offensive attention. So the defenses are going to slowly but surely start to scheme to take Garrett Wilson out of the game plan, you know, and maybe those are the adjustments. When they start doing that, those are the adjustments that say, okay, we're going to get off of that read and we want to get, you know, we want to, you know, change and go from the inside and go from the outside in to the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. We're in 3-by-1. Here's our 3. Here's our 1. You got Garrett soloed. 4-2-5. Right? I want you to watch the middle linebacker here. Okay? So Mike Reed reads the shell. All right? And he looks at Corey Davis. First read. Corey Davis is closed. Man, hang on one second. Sorry, I went too far. Let me play it through. This is another one where I think it's like a little bit nitpicking because the play worked out great.
That's the first one. The bad night, what he did. He did the thing with the fingers. What these young guys think of doing.
So the middle linebacker here is dropping straight down in the middle. He's taking away this deep middle. So this is Tampa 2 concept, right? Where you have the 2 safeties that are playing thirds and you have the linebacker playing down the middle. So it's a good read, right? It's a good read. He reads Corey Davis. Corey Davis is closed.
Look at Elijah.
Yeah.
Elijah, I just assume he's always open and just isn't seen.
He must. That's why he's so upset. Probably he's probably so frustrated.
It's
Going,
par for the
I'm
course.
open every like. He's probably thinking, what do I have to do to get them to call the play for me? He looks it too. He looks like he's so.
Elijah's wide open.
I mean,
Elijah's wide open.
I'm willing to bet on.
Here's
I would bet on Elijah Moore's driver's. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
After you, go ahead.
No. We'll go back to the play. It's okay.
It's so weird. He was looking at. I mean, he was doing his job right, right? Because he was looking at Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson. He looks right. So he looks left here. I think here, what I think his first read is here. Just by the progression, just by watching his head, I think he's seeing what's happening here. I don't know if he's reading Uzama or he's trying to read the linebackers. All right, but he comes off of it. He comes off a little quick. So he's here. He reads the linebackers or Uzama, and then you see he's off into Garrett Wilson already. But Garrett Wilson's closed. This window's closed. All right. So he changes, he steps, and he hits Bam on that swing. Bam gets the first down. But watch Elijah. Now this is the only thing this is the only thing I can deduce. This is the only thing I can deduce. Watch his head. As he's looking left, he's already right. So let me rewind it a little bit more. Watch Mike White's helmet. Watch his vision. He's keying the linebackers. He's looking left. He sees the linebackers dropping, right? Sees the linebackers dropping. He sees this guy kind of stays in the hook. I'm assuming at this point, since he's already on to Garrett Wilson, he's assuming this guy's staying right here. So if that's what he's seeing, that's the right read. He goes, 1 linebacker, stay home. Where's Garrett Wilson? Garrett Wilson's closed. Let me swing it out to Bam. But this linebacker doesn't stop. See that linebacker? That linebacker has his back turned. He's trying to get back into this deep third to cover in case Garrett Wilson gets in here, and that leaves Elijah wide open right here.
Yeah, he needed to read 54. You know, Brian is saying it. He needed to read 54. But let's remember the game is very fast.
Well, no, I
The
mean,
game, yeah, no, I'm just telling the people in the chat. The game is happening really fast. There's a lot going on. The quarterback is processing a million different things, and at the end of the day, he still makes a good decision.
yeah, again, net positive. We got a first down on the play.
Right.
You know, he's reading the linebackers here, and he's here, and he sees this linebacker stop. Right? Sees the linebacker stops. Right? At this point, it's right here. This linebacker's still here. Right? There's nothing to say that this guy's going to continue running. This guy's going to continue running deep. So my guess is that his thought process was, all right, hook. This guy's going to take the middle hook away. So he's going to stop there. So once this is closed down, he knows he can't hit Garrett because of this linebacker. That's when he goes out to bam. Now, again, if he knew or if he, you know, good concept, you know, they went Tampa 2 instead and brought that linebacker straight deep. If he knew that linebacker was going to, you know, keep getting vertical, then yes, then Elijah's the read.
Right.
But again, it's net positive because we got a first down.
Right.
You know, still a large chunk play. You really can't be that. Can't be that upset for 12 yards.
Yeah, well, and you also can't be upset because you have to understand we could pick apart. And again, this is for the chat, like everybody. We just have to remember we could pick apart any quarterback in the NFL this way, looking at every play and every receiver, and say, well, if they and find plays where they didn't read or they didn't notice or they turned too quick right before the linebacker showed that he was going to run back. I mean, if we watched that New England game, and I'm not trying to pick on my boy, I love Zach Wilson, but that New England game was a disaster because I think a lot of people said they couldn't even do it. They couldn't stomach watching it again because halfway through they were so sick because there was so many like this where he missed open guys.
Yeah. Well, this is a great play, and I think this is a great play, phenomenally schemed by Mike LaFleur, and a great read by Mike White. Just an overall good play. We're in 12 personnel. All right, so we got 2 tight ends. We got Corey Davis out on the wide side. I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's Elijah or Garrett. I can't see it from here per se, but it's play action. They're in their base 3-4, so they got the 3. They got their 2 outside linebackers here, 2 middle linebackers here, 4 defensive backs that are off, right? So play action. Again, we ran this before. Play action, and it looks like they're setting up the screen. But Uzama just leaks out.
Oh, my God, what a play.
Oh, that play. We talked about it earlier.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike LaFleur.
Watch how this play formulates, right? Play action. They're showing screen, right? They're showing screen. This guy stays home because he's like, all right, they're going to set up the screen. Let me go blow this up. And Uzama just leaks right by him, wide open. Perfect ball. Great yak. I mean, that's Mike LaFleur and Mike White playing that perfectly.
It's a beautiful play.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful play. Everything worked out exactly how you wanted it to.
Right. The only problem is what happened after they got to that 18-yard line. That's when the problem started.
No, you're right. You're right.
Tom, every time we have a red zone play, it's like you're saying now you're going to see something that doesn't go. It's like, yes, we know we're in the red zone. We know it doesn't go well.
As you see, I don't have many red zone plays in here. No.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. So everyone, I don't have to say much about this one.
Oh, Johnny, thanks for the super chat. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Johnny Murayel. Professor. Thank you, Professor.
Guys,
I missed him by a year in Stony Brook. He was like a professor for years in the college I went to, and I think I missed him by a year.
So here we are, guys. We're in our 0-1 personnel, our 4 wide out play. They're in their 4-2 nickel. They got 1 deep. Just a great route sequence, man. And Mike White throws a gem, right? Mike White throws a gem. Look at that window. It's tiny. And he throws a perfect ball right there. I don't know how he gets it in there, but he does. even more so is what's great after this play. I don't know how he doesn't get tackled there, but he doesn't.
Yep.
This is my favorite play of the game.
Okay.
Except-
Now,
Oh,
here's what I'm talking about. All right. Look at this, guys. Look how this sets up. Corey Davis here. Denzel Mims here. If Garrett Wilson stays straight and he can get by Harrison Smith here and cut it up here, that's a touchdown. Now, maybe he doesn't get by him here, but even so, instead of if he just tries to get up inside of that, I think it's a touchdown. You have
that's
the blocker,
tight.
you have the blocker set up, and he goes outside of it instead, and then there he just steps
See,
out.
Greenby didn't see it, so he started playing the touchdown celebration, and I was
Oh.
yelling no because I saw it. So he played it, and I'm like, no, it's
You
not.
can see the throw here, guys. Look at this throw. With anticipation, threw it to where Garrett Wilson was going to be, a perfect pass.
That is,
And Garrett does the rest.
how
And you
does he
can
not
see
get tackled there?
Right
That's
here.
amazing.
Cut it inside. You have blockers. You have two of the best stalk blockers and wide receivers out in front of you.
Yeah.
Use them. Cut it inside.
The sideline's like another defender. Yeah.
Cut it
Way to end the
inside.
play.
He ran to a defender instead. It's funny because you're right. Those are two of the best blocking wide receivers in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Really, for real, they're both great.
That's one reason Joe Douglas wanted them. I think he saw 24 like to his right in his peripheral vision,
Yeah.
and he was like, "I got to get away from him." That
I'm
had to be
sure-
what was
I'm sure
going
he
through his
did.
mind. Can't kill
You know,
that.
and coulda, shoulda, woulda, but it was just set up so perfect. You had Mims blocking out, you had Corey Davis blocking in. Just
Right on line.
take it right up the middle, you know? So it is what it is. We all know how that ended up. And here's one where I don't have to talk. We'll just let this one play. Not the
Oh,
punt.
it skips.
Not the punt. Here we
Not
go.
the punt. Okay.
This one. Game of inches.
Oh.
Game of inches. Look at this. Stops. Wide open.
Yeah.
Now, for the people who say Mike White has a noodle arm,
I wish he did in this
I beg
for
to
this
differ, man.
throw.
It's a great throw. It's just, it's just
It's
6
not a touchdown though. No matter how he throws it, 24 is gonna get it, or at least have a great shot. Right? Look at the
He
safety.
would have had a shot at it.
The safety had the angle.
Well, that jumped.
You would hope that he maybe cuts it in and tries to beat the safety.
Well, no, I'm not saying. Well, there's definitely a chance he beats him, but I'm just saying it wasn't
He
an
could've.
automatic. It wasn't an automatic touchdown. There was a guy there.
He would have to hit him in stride perfectly
Uh-huh.
for him to get up the field this way. I think, if anything, he catches it and cuts it in around this guy.
Well,
But-
from that angle, it looks like he could have beaten that guy easy if it was in stride the ball.
Yeah.
From that angle.
So, all right. So we know how disappointed they were. Garrett Wilson, and I'm sure Mike White's, thinking the same thing, like, man, we had it. So this is the next play. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is a quarterback right here. This is a guy who, we talk about like the mental aspect of it, and like that last play happened, right? It's done. You got to move on to the next one. We're in 11 personnel. They're in their 4-2-5. A great route scheme here. Michael LaFleur schemes up a great route. Good, strong throw. Mike White takes a beating on this pass. 2 minutes after just losing a touchdown right there. Not even 2 minutes. One play after.
46.
Steps up, gets hit, throws a perfect ball
That was
over
a
one
dime.
defender in front of the other one.
What a
I mean,
design.
that's moxie right there, man.
That was a dime, and it was down.
Yeah, absolutely. Was
And I don't care how good or bad the like Minnesota's pass defense or whatever. That doesn't change the fact that he just went and threw a dime. And don't tell me that our guys are never getting open against any defense, because of course, no matter who we're playing, we're gonna have guys get open. The fact that Mike White can, when a guy gets open, throw a dime like that is a good thing for us. We should be happy.
Absolutely. Well, that's the last play I got for you guys. I know I've been going on for about an hour now, so that's probably enough out of me.
Okay, that was a good question. A lot of jumping when they catch the ball.
Yeah.
A lot of jumping. I think it's. Oh, let me get this down. I think it has to do with Mims rubbing off on them. Okay.
Yeah. So I see Sanders Clark only 50 yards. That's not a lot for NFL. I don't think so. I think if you could throw the ball 50 yards on a rope, that's pretty damn good. Right?
Yeah, I don't understand that. The point is everybody said he only throws short little passes and he doesn't have a deep game, but he's throwing dimes 25, 30 yards downfield is fine. Most plays, very few touchdown passes, very few are bombs.
Yeah.
Usually big plays are hitting a guy in stride, 15, 20 yards right on the cut, down, right? And then it's a lot of yak. And it's about using your weapons because Garrett Wilson, as we are seeing, he's not a guy you throw a bomb to. You throw 15, 20 yards downfield perfectly timed, and then he takes it the other 40 yards.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's the way, right? I mean, like if you watch tape, how many of Jerry Rice's touchdowns, just as an example, from Young in Montana were bombs?
No, not a lot. You know why?
It would be a lot of yards after the catch.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. I mean, if you think about the basis of what we know as what's called the West Coast offense, which what we run is a derivative of the West Coast offense, it's short passes, get the ball in the hands of your playmakers and let them get yardage after the fact.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we do have some breaking baseball free agent news, not New York related, but shortstop Xander Bogaerts and the San Diego Padres have a contract and agreement, 11 years, $280 million. So Bogaerts goes from the Red Sox to the Padres.
What happened to I thought the Padres have an amazing shortstop. Is he going to play the outfield from now on?
It's a good question.
Well,
might have to move him.
Yeah.
Isn't he suspended?
No, that's over.
I think the suspension is going to be over. He was injured. He was suspended, but he got hurt. So the suspension's over now. So maybe they move him to DH or something, or they move him to the outfield. It's very possible. So they got Juan Soto, Machado. My God, Bogaerts. What a lineup!
Just so everyone can see, Johnny is not a fan of Mike White.
None of the quarterbacks like Elijah Moore. That's something we've all learned. I seriously think on Elijah Moore's driver's license, you don't see his face. It's just a blank. He's like John Cena. You can't see him.
You guys see the
Rivas Cup?
Darrelle Revis, memorabilia cup? I mean, absolutely.
Did you just get that this year, or is that
I got it at the Bears game.
At the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, this is who he's talking about. I mean, Saunders said it. He knew his name. That's who I was talking about. He's an amazing shortstop, fielding-wise, defensively. I was at San Diego. I was in San Diego, and so the Mets Padres a couple of years ago, and this kid could play shortstop, man. Like they're gonna take this kid out of are they gonna move the other guy? I mean, Bogaerts, it's a second base or something.
I don't think they're moving Bogaerts. No, I think he's there to be a shortstop. I don't think he would have gone.
I mean, they got two excellent fielding shortstops.
And they got Machado at first base too. Machado at third base.
Third base, yeah.
They try to get Justice, right? I mean, Judge. They try to get Judge.
They try to get Judge. They tried to get Trey Turner. Couldn't get either of them. So they pivoted to Bogaerts.
So they just said screw position. We just get another hitter in the lineup. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Right?
Defense be damned. That's it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, did I get to 54 likes? Over 50 likes? Like my guy likes to make sure I got over 50 likes. So that's it. Okay, cool. He says I have to bring out the wackiness because of it. I got wacky in the beginning, didn't I? With the introductions and everything.
Yeah, the introductions are always great, man. Always great.
The T-shirts provided a good amount of wackiness for the beginning, so
the
whole T-shirt saga.
Yeah, definitely.
So getting a little bit more into that film, hopefully, gave you guys a little bit more understanding of what we have going on. Mike White, he can run the offense. He can. Is he going to? Is he Patrick Mahomes? Nope. But he's the best option that we have right here, right now. I think he can make the throws. He's got his limitations, but overall, like he's a really, really serviceable player. Is he the franchise? I'm not ready to hang my hat on that yet. Haven't seen enough. But there's no doubt in my mind. I think he's the best guy for our team right now. I didn't think that 6 weeks ago.
Right? No.
Oh no, none of us did. No,
would have.
Well, there are a tiny pocket of Jets fans like the Mike White truthers who, who were probably making visits to Canton last offseason just to see the shrine.
Look, I didn't care about the 150 yards of only 150 yards or whatever. After the Buffalo game, I was feeling really good about Zach Wilson. I didn't care less. I was like, I don't care. He was efficient, didn't make mistakes, and we won the game. So I wasn't thinking about it at all until after the New England game. But I knew after that New England game, something was off. And I said, we're going to have to bench this kid. And it was sucked and it hurt. And it was the worst thing in the world. But like, there was no question in my mind. Like, I was watching that press conference that Monday. I left work and stuck into an office alone to watch it because I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So,
well, the test only gets harder this week. So this is going to be. I think he knows what's at stake this week. And again, I'm gonna say it again. We did a video on this. If the Jets don't win this game, it is not the end of the world. Now you could pretty much kiss their division hopes goodbye if they lose this game, but there is a very, very realistic scenario where the Jets only beat Detroit and Jacksonville and still get a wild card spot. It is very, very possible.
I was telling people on Twitter, I was like, everybody's assuming that these other teams that we're battling against for wild card spots are going to do so well. And if you look, like, the Chargers and the Patriots aren't that good. And they're not, and they, it does. When you look at their schedule, it doesn't look like they're going to win a ton of games.
No, Patriots still got the Bengals, the Bills, and it honestly, the Chargers have Miami and Tennessee coming up. Then they got a couple of cupcakes. But again, like we were saying in our group text a little bit earlier today, the Chargers are an accident waiting to happen. Never underestimate their ability to screw the easiest thing. They could screw up a one-car funeral. The Chargers could. They've been doing it for years. So never, ever give the Chargers too much credit because they don't deserve it.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, if there's any Met fans out there, any Met fans left in the chat, if you're a New York Mets fan, Watsu K99, Adam, the guy you've been talking to all night, the guy right up there, right next to me, over by my side, New York Sports Wikimedia. Go to New York Sports Wikimedia and subscribe if you haven't yet. Especially, you should do it no matter what, just for the Jets content, Rangers, Knicks, any of the New York sports content. But specifically, I'm asking any Met fans to subscribe because me and Adam are planning a live stream together. We're going to talk about the Mets offseason so far, and you're not going to know about it unless you subscribe to his channel. And then you'll be able to, he'll talk about it in his videos. I'll talk about it again. And if you hit the notification bell when you subscribe to his channel, you'll definitely get notified. So if you want to get some good New York Mets talk, make sure you subscribe to New York Sports Wikimedia. And like Adam is saying, he always releases really good informative videos that kind of like makes you think. Like, everybody's thinking, we got to win 11 games. Well, Adam took a look. He looked at the schedules, and he figured out that we might not have to win 11 games to make the playoffs.
No, it's true. And if we're going to do a Mets show, if I'm going to sit here, I'm going to have to change the background a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Me too.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I might literally have to go to the wicker chair where I've got all my my logo banners behind me. I might have to do that. The thing is, how comfortable is that chair going to be for 2 hours? We did it for 5 or 6 hours one night, and I still don't know how I got through that one. But
yeah, go ahead, man.
Link up there. All right.
Good.
So you guys could see Grandizer put the link up there. Make sure you sub to the channel. Sub up, guys. Sub up. Adam's here every single week working for you guys. And he's got his own channel, and you guys need to see his work that he does over there as well. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it, man. It's it's just a fun thing to do. It's great to have this outlet, and for anybody who actually takes the time to watch these videos, there's a million things you could be listening to or watching, and the fact that you take the time to watch us, it really means more to us than you'll ever know. So we want to thank you all for that.
Amen, man.
Okay,
Amen.
just quickly, Johnny, my opinion is there's two things at play for when Zach comes back. I mean, you guys can disagree. I think he becomes active when they believe he's ready. When they think, okay, we could use him in a game now. And I think it's combined with, because I think in the beginning specifically, even if he was ready right away, I don't know if they want that over Mike White's shoulder. But I think if he screws the bet against Buffalo, if he has a really bad game, I think you're going to see Zach back competing to maybe be the guy. Maybe. I don't know if they're going to pull him out for one game. But I definitely think that you could start to look for Zach to be activated again. What do you think, Dom?
You know what? I'm going to say this. I think that Robert Saleh has framed everything perfectly. And what I mean by that is he's kind of retracted way back from Zach is our guy, there's no doubt, stop it, to, hey, Zach's going to see the time. Zach's going to see the field again when we think he's ready. I mean, that might be a little coach speaky, like he gives himself plenty of outs. But I think what he's telling you is I think it's Mike White's job as long as we're in the hunt. When we're out of the hunt, Zach's going to be here. And I don't expect Zach to be active as a backup while Mike White is still a starter.
Really? You think they just want to not have him looking over his shoulder?
Not even looking over his shoulder. I think if there's any truth to the fact that they want Zach to really work on his fundamentals, then that's what he's going to do. He's going to play scout. He's going to work on his fundamentals with Calabrese and LaFleur and all that, and not have to worry about any of the game planning or the opponent at hand. Like if they're going to reset him, they're going to reset him. I think you'll see Zach inactive or you'll see Zach as the starter. I think those are the only two options for this year. Next year's a whole other ballgame, But for this year, you're going to either see Zach inactive or you're going to see Zach behind center.
I think that's a very fair assessment because, you don't want the scenario where every week, Robert, who's your starting quarterback? Robert, hypothetically, if this happened, who would your starting quarterback be? Who? Yeah, oh, my gosh. They'll ask the same questions 12 ways from Sunday. All you have to do, if you haven't yet, play the Jets press conference and the way that Costello and Samini and Hughes are just all asking the same question, just 15 different ways. They just rearrange one word here and there.
Yeah.
But as soon as Zach is, the backup, every 5 minutes, the camera's going to be zoomed right in on him. Every time there's an incomplete pass, the camera goes right to Zach.
Yeah.
The Jets don't need this right now. This is not a team that's 4-10 or anything like that. I think it makes all the sense in the world. Either Zach is out of sight, out of mind, or he's behind center. I think that's the only way you could do this right now.
Well, listen, it's not ideal because God forbid Mike White gets hurt. We got to deal with Flacco again.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love Joe Flacco. I do.
Then I think I like the Streveler package if we have Flacco. Yeah, and
Streveler hasn't been active either.
He doesn't even get reps.
We're running game day right now with two quarterbacks.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, we've needed pretty much 4 running backs, 3-4 running, or the extra position player, and it seems to be working so far. So I'm not going to argue with it.
Yeah, listen, I'm curious to see what happens this weekend in regards to, who's active and who's not, and so on and so forth. Because Michael Carter practiced today fully, wasn't even on the injury report, which is a good sign, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't think he was on the injury report.
No, he wasn't.
No, full practice. Full practice.
That's right.
Full practice. So you can assume that he's going to be back in his role, right? And you have to assume, not only based on what Saleh said, but based on just what we're seeing, that Bam's still going to have, his shot in this offense, right?
Just it's gonna be the Michael Carter Bam Bam show, and then next year, whether it's November or whenever it is, we're gonna have a 3-headed monster like nobody's ever seen before.
Well, I 2.5 headed. You know,
Yeah,
because I and again, not to be Debbie Downer, but I don't think we can expect to see Brees Hall anywhere near full strength, especially for the first half of the season.
I mean, there's still only one football, so if you have to start Brees on the pup list or something like that, you
fine.
know what? You still have plenty. And Robinson maybe he needs the offseason to get a little bit better, to get a little bit more burst back. So yeah, if you start with Carter, Bam, and James Robinson for a little bit, you know what? That's fine. You could do that.
You have options. You have options, right?
Yeah.
Because Ty Johnson's a free agent, and he's going to be unrestricted. Bam Knight's under contract. Michael Carter's under contract. Obviously, Brees is under contract.
Robinson's a restricted free agent.
Robinson's restricted. So if you tender him, you're going to have the right of first refusal. I don't think as an undrafted free agent, I don't think he'll count towards the what's it called? Like he won't count towards the. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. I'm tired.
The cap?
No, not the cap. The pick, supplemental picks.
Oh,
Picks,
okay.
yeah.
Supplemental.
He doesn't count towards the
comps and all that. Okay.
Yeah. As an unrestricted free agent, I don't think they count towards the comp pick floor. So you do get the right of first refusal. That's what you get with him. So as long as nobody offers him anything outlandish, I think you could bring him back relatively cheap. If you tender him, he's $2 million. That's right on par with what we paid Ty Johnson to be our fourth running back this year. So it makes sense.
I got to, 50 years from now, when the Jets are in a new stadium in Queens or on Long Island or whatever, and we're all like old decrepit men in nursing homes and whatnot, and the Jets have 9-10 championships under their belt by that point. Somehow Ty Johnson will still be on this roster. We will never be able to get rid of Ty Johnson. He will always have a role, if not in this team, in this organization. It is just unbelievable that we can't lose Ty Johnson.
Yeah, the roster over the next year is going to it's going to change. We have a lot of guys whose contracts are up, so there's going to be a lot of tough decisions made. But that's what happens with good teams, right?
Yeah, and that's the risk of these short-term free agent contracts, which Joe Douglas give up. It's like, okay, you might be able to get some comp picks back for these guys, and you're not stuck into the risk of a bad contract clogging up your cap, but are you able to keep the team together? And my hope is that these guys see what's going on, and all of a sudden you don't have to pay more money than you used to keep these guys. But you know what? A lot of these teams, they seem to find ways to maneuver it, whether it's changing money into signing bonuses, and they did it with CJ, and with some of these other guys, who knows what they'll do. But we don't have to worry about that yet.
Yeah, JJ will, when the time comes, JJ will figure it all out. And now that we're a good team, prepare yourselves, buckle down over the next bunch of years. Hopefully this will go on for a long time, but there's going to be some painful losses. Guys are going to walk away, and because we're not going to be able to pay everyone, and it's a good problem to have. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck. Get used to it. Get ready. Buckle down for it. But trust in JD, trust in our staff that they're going to make the right decision and hold on to the right players that they have to hold on to.
That's right. And even more so, when you can't, make sure you're backfilling them with talent.
Yes, definitely. And part of JD's thinking will be who's in the pipeline. What year is this in the draft? What's the strength coming out of the draft this year? Like we could trust him with all that stuff. He's really good at it. So.
Yes. Oh, maybe we should address. We haven't talked as much lately about the upcoming Bills game. Saunders Clark, 3 keys to beating the Bills.
Well, I have to go. So.
I don't know. Maybe we'll each do one. How about that?
Let's each do one. You guys start. Dom, why don't you do one? You start? Adam, you go.
Key to beating the Bills.
Yeah. Let's just do one each.
I'm going to say this might be a easy out, but I think this is something that we saw last week a little bit more, something we saw in the beginning of the year, and then we got good at it and kind of digressed a little bit. I think we need to get off the field on third down more on defense.
Okay, I'll cross mine off. Thank you
We
very
cannot
much.
let Buffalo extend plays. You give them the ability to extend plays and extend drives. You're gonna get beat. They're just too talented, man.
Yeah, I'll give you a number on third downs. I was going to put this on my preview video, but I'm going to give it away here too. The Bills are converting 51.8% of their third downs. That's the best in the league. By comparison, the Jets are 29th in the league. 32.9% of their third downs they convert on offense.
Wow.
That the third down thing is absolutely crazy, and that's something that we have to get. If you want to get on, say, Michael Floor, somebody like that, the third downs, I'm more concerned about that than I am the red zone, especially third and short, which is a situation they've struggled in. 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. Got to come up with some better ideas for that. For me, the best way to beat Buffalo is to turn them over. I mean, Josh Allen has had 17 turnovers this season. Okay, he's averaging 1.25 turnovers per game. So if they don't turn the Bills over, I think at least twice, I don't think they're going to win this game. So,
okay,
I'm gonna say it's funny because it's just so he took yours, so you took mine.
yeah.
So that was what happened. So I'm gonna say beat the living hell out of Josh Allen. So that's gonna be my key to the game, just like we did last time. Let's make him see ghosts. Let's make it a thing where instead of him getting revenge on us, which is what he wants, it's more of a new trend that we can bring into future years because they're going to be a rival for a long time to come. Let's make it a thing that Josh Allen despises playing us because it becomes a thing where we're just beating the hell out of this kid every time we play him. So if we beat the hell out of Josh Allen, if we pound him, if we hurt him, if we put him in pain, frustrate him, get him upset, we've seen what happens. He's not the Josh Allen that we're so afraid of. So that's my key to the game. Just let's crush him. So look, Dom C, you can find his articles on Green Bean Jets Fan, the website. I'm
working on a draft guide for 23. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but it's already well within the works. Going to touch on all these prospects, positive, negatives, something that both of these guys know I'm very avid with and committed to. The whole draft process and the prospects that come along with it. So I will be publishing. It'll be my first publication. So, hopefully you get out there and take a gander.
That's pretty exciting. And then Watsu K99, you were talking about your video that's coming out. We got a Mets, your first New York Mets live stream.
Yep. Right now the plan is to do it Friday night. That's the thought. Right now we're thinking it'll be 10 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna have to do it late. I have some things going on Friday. So we may have to do it a little bit later than we normally would. So, hey, even if you're not the biggest Mets fan, if you're a baseball fan, or if you know anybody who might like to listen to it, and just your two nutty guys just talk about whatever, who knows where it might go. But it's going to be the first time. It looks like it's going to be on my channel at New York Sports Wicker Media. So we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So we're excited about that. I did 2 or 3 videos in the last 2 days about the Mets and what they're doing in free agency and with trades. And I don't think I'll be doing any more soccer videos for about another 4 years when the U.S. is back in the World Cup. So I think we're going to take a little break from soccer for a while, so don't worry about that.
Okay, everybody. And so I will be on, you might see both Adam and I. You'll definitely see Adam tomorrow night on Green Beans Thursday Thick of It. He'll be bringing the trivia. You might see
I got to make it challenging. Man, they're getting too good right now.
Yeah,
I got to make this a little extra challenging this week. So I'll come up with a good tough Bills question, Bills question. I got one in mind actually.
Okay. Me and my brother will still be pumping out the videos, and I'll be doing the Buffalo game again at Green Bean Jets Fan on his channel. We'll be doing the watch party with him. So come check us out there. Watch me and Green Bean watch the game. And it's kind of funny when you say it, but it really is a good time. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you, Dom. Awesome job as usual. That was fantastic. You're giving me an education during a show that I'm running and having fun running. So I appreciate that. And as always, I appreciate you, Adam, my co-host, and I'm looking forward to talk baseball with you too.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be fun. Always branching out, and currently football. Later this week, baseball. Eventually, we're going to get into like curling and dominoes. Who knows where it'll go?
Good night, everybody. We'll see you
All
soon.
right, guys. Thank
Good
you.
night, guys.
Greatest co-host in the world. Watsuke 99. Get ready to rumble.
The tag team champions of the world.
My brotherly crevasse.
That is the best intro I have ever received.
The world. The Buffalo Jets man.
Yo.
George Fant is a barely above replacement level, pretty good left tackle.
How can you say
Compare
that when
that
he
to
was
an-
top 3 in sack percentage last year for left tackles?
And I think when in doubt, until you have better reason, go with the optimistic view. And our defensive line is going to be giving a lot of people some trouble.
But yeah, it's got to be, I'm with you. I don't like the Nathan's fries when they're like floppy. It's got to be like done really well, It's very hard to teach 6'3" and 4.3 speed. That's very rare. The talent's there. He's just got to put it together mentally.
Right.
To get
You're a
onto
cheater.
you, I'm a cheater.